escucha que están tocando, sonando el mambo.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Whether it's Kensington cameras or fight clubs or stupid statements that people in certain communities make, they put it out there, and we give our opinion on it.
Right.
You probably just don't have the balls to give honest opinions.
Right.
And if you did, nobody would listen anyway because you sound like a pleasant dweeb. Devin is definitely a white dude for Harris. Don't get mad at us for reacting to things. Why don't you get mad at the people that won't clean it up?
Right.
If the Super Bowl came to Kensington, that place would be cleared out and cleaned in 13 minutes.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks, like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 267-223-7162 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 267-223-7162 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 267-223-7162 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 267-223-7162.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
From ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. In the final hour of trading, the worst stock sell-off in more than a year yesterday is a buying opportunity today, with the Dow gaining back about half of what it lost. Good for investors, maybe. Consumers are facing the prospect of higher inflation with new numbers out today.
In May, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index rose 4.1% compared with May of last year. The June figure is a more modest 3.7% year over year. The Bureau of Economic Analysis is in the middle of revamping its method of calculating the numbers, a process that may result in lower inflation readings, not necessarily lower inflation, starting next month.
ABC's Jim Ryan. New claims today by Ukraine's President Zelensky that the Russians used a North Korean missile for the first time in their latest strikes, according to early data. Missiles from the U.S. and Iran continue to fly across the Middle East into Jordan, Egypt, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. Had the parents paid attention, the school shooting would not have happened, says a Georgia judge, Nicholas Prim, in sentencing the father, Colin Gray, to 15 years for the murders.
You were convicted because the warning lights were flashing brighter and brighter, and you didn't get him help, and you didn't remove his access to the guns.
The son used a rifle his dad gave him for Christmas to kill 2 students and 2 teachers at Appalachia High in 2024. President Trump says he may pull the nomination of Todd Blanche for Attorney General until the men blocking the vote in the Senate, John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, are out of office in January. Cornyn lost a primary bid for re-election and is a no vote because Blanche hasn't abandoned the compensation fund.
I know that Todd Blanche understands it, but I think he's probably getting some pushback from the White House, and that's making things more complicated than it needs to be.
Wall Street, the Dow up more than 600 points now. You're listening to ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months. including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
These days, heading back to school means more than pencils and notebooks. It means laptops, tablets, online accounts, and a lot of personal information moving across the internet. WebRoot Total Protection gives families powerful online defense tools with antivirus, VPN, cloud backup, identity protection, and more, helping keep your digital life secure throughout the school year and beyond. Go to webroot.com/radio and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/radio for 60% off. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
The Eagle has landed out of ICU. Alex Stone with the good news from California on Jackie the Bald Eagle.
Jackie is known worldwide. She and her partner Shadow have been the focus of fans watching them lay eggs and raise babies for years, thanks to a nonprofit group that put a webcam near their nest high in a tree in Big Bear, California. Well, Jackie has been sick and in an ICU unit at the Ojai Raptor Center. And now in an update, the center says Jackie has been moved from the ICU to a regular hospital unit. She remains very sick. After she was rescued, she was anemic with inflammation affecting her kidneys. She had a life-saving blood transfusion and has been on oxygen treatment. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
On the roads, President Trump is targeting non-citizens driving trucks.
They don't want to learn the language. They don't care about the language, and they don't speak it. They don't speak English. They cannot read basic road signs. In many cases, they've engaged in reckless driving that has caused many, many preventable deaths.
He's pushing firms to hire American veterans. Dozens of former students at Michigan's Interlochen Center for the Arts have come forward to allege sexual abuse there at that prestigious institution going back to the 1950s. Among the alleged perpetrators, Jeffrey Epstein, who was a student and later benefactor. Also more than 40 former faculty and staff, none of whom are still employed there. About a third are deceased. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as big wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. Lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
And Justin, that is. Join Tommy on Talk Radio.
Welcome to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby in on the afternoon show, 3 to 6 today. Looking forward to it. I'm your host, and I'm your host every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. I tend to try to wrap up what happened in the week and have some interesting guests on. We have a Heads Up, Rich Zeoli podcast tonight starting at 6 p.m. You're going to want to tune in for that. My producers and contributors for today's show and every show I'm on, they have dual titles because I need them. I like playing in a team environment. Matt DeSantis and Justin Otero producing, co-hosting, contributing, doing it all for you out there listening to 1210 WPHT in Philadelphia. So who do I got coming on today? I'm going to give you that. I have my guest, Representative Walter Hudson from Minnesota. He's a Republican. He's the assistant Republican leader in the state house over there. He's a former radio host. That's why I like him. And he's always dragged into Washington. And I find it interesting. He'll be sitting at a dais, as they say, in the congressman. But I've seen him twice down there, maybe 3 times. And the Democrats from Minnesota will say something, and then they'll go to Representative Walter Hudson, and he'll just crush them. He doesn't look at them. He just looks straight ahead, and he gives an honest answer. He gives a very honest answer. And you know the Democrats sitting next to him say in their hearts, I hate that guy. That's definitely what's going on. I love the body language, and he delivers it. His cadence is very just kind of smooth and direct. And I love when I see their hearts break every time when they drag them all down there to Washington, D.C. So what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about Minnesota, what's going on out there. We got Fruit Loops, Governor Waltz. Man, that guy is a whack job. I've never seen anything like him in modern politics. He got to the place. He was almost the vice president. What a kooky kind of wackadoodle kind of, I'd love to have that guy on the show. I'd love that. That would be an interesting show. We'd have a very honest conversation about how kooky he is. That's all I'd want to talk about. I might even hang out with a guy like that just for the entertainment. He's a one of a kind, I'll tell you that. A real interesting fella out there. Okay, who else do we have? Joshua Klein's coming on. He's from Breitbart News. He's their national security reporter. Joshua knows everything that's going on in the Middle East. No one knows. I don't want to say everything, but he's got a great handle on the Middle East. He was in the Israel Defense Forces. He grew up in the Philadelphia area, so he's a local Philadelphia guy. We're going to have him on, but he really covers what's going on in Iran. He understands Hezbollah. He's got a good handle on that part of the world. As Donald Trump always says, it's a pretty rough neighborhood over there. And we're going to be talking about that neighborhood today on the show. Then we have Kush Desai, and he's the deputy press secretary in the Trump administration. And we'll bring him on, and we'll try to find out what's going on in the White House. You know, they got the midterms coming up, and listen, everything is spin in politics, from the right or for the left. And you know, we do less spin because Trump's one of those guys. He's just telling you what he thinks every time they ask him a question. That's a very talking while thinking is a very entrepreneurial thing, especially when you're boss. You're never like when you work in corporate America. I've noticed this, and I didn't last long in corporate America because I spoke what I was thinking, and I could run my business that way because you don't report to anyone. So you're never looking to govern yourself. You're not looking to offend, but you think out loud, because if your idea is bad, you don't care. You'll just change it. That's one of the biggest freedoms of entrepreneurship. Let me tell you. You can just think out loud. Some people say, well, I was an entrepreneur. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't let my people know this. I wouldn't let, I was kind of like, whatever. I'm thinking off the top of my head. That's how I roll. And Donald Trump he definitely kind of rolls like that, where he just, he thinks off the top of his head, and he doesn't care if he says something and then it changes. And we all know he anchors deep, and that's more of a sales guy thing than an executive thing, where you you anchor so deep that even if you give back 30% discount, you still got 70%. But then people on the left or the right were like, well, why did he say that? He only got 70%. Because life's about percentages. You don't have to get 100% all the time. You just got to get enough. You got to just keep advancing. And if you're thinking of starting a business, always be advancing. Always be advancing, because once you start sitting around thinking too much, you're going to implode. But anyway, they're our guests for today. I don't know if my producers here know. Do you know I was in San Francisco last week?
You know, I remember you mentioning it, but I can't remember why you were there.
Well, I was there to see my daughter. We brought the whole family out. She's co-oping at Industrial Light Magic, which is
nice.
George Lucas's Star Wars. They're the biggest special effects company.
I remember you saying this.
So what I want to report, and this goes against right-wing talking points, San Francisco looked pretty good, fellas. I'm telling you, I was in at least, and I talked about it on Saturday, but I don't think, and this is a question before I get back into San Francisco. I don't think the city itself, I think people are using old talking points.
Mm-hmm.
I was in about 5 different neighborhoods, and I didn't see a lot of problems. I saw them, they were pretty clean, these neighborhoods. I didn't ride the subways. But you ride the New York subway or Philly subway, they suck too. But I didn't ride the subways, but I didn't see what right-wing talking points have been talking about forever. I do believe it was a mess, because I've had friends who've lived out there who've since moved or moved in and saw the changes or whatever. But I do believe it's gotten better. They've taken some moves. I think they've crammed them all into the Tenderloin area, which I didn't go to. So now you can avoid it. I told the audience on Saturday this. As I'm going to the TSA checkpoint, which is between B and C in the Philadelphia airport, right where you go through the cattle line thing, there was a homeless person snoring and sleeping right where you enter. Right where you enter. And I'm like, look at all this security over here. And this guy, who knows what he's high on? He could have whatever he could have on him laying there. No one was disturbing him. Then I land in the San Francisco airport after seeing that, and I say to myself, and I don't mean to throw Philly under the bus, but I can, because I've been here for many years. I've lived all over. I lived in Center City 10 years, built businesses in Philly. Listen, you gotta work at having a nice city. Land in the airport in San Francisco. That airport was like the nicest mall I've ever been in. That airport was unbelievable, and it was quiet. Like, there were a lot of people there, but like there wasn't a lot of noise. I don't know. I had like a weird out of body experience there. But anyway, it was pretty cool. Are you guys George Lucas fans?
I like Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the original ones. The more recent ones, I could take.
Well, I mean, that's not that has nothing to do with George Lucas. That's all Disney. George Lucas is the first 6.
I thought he still had something to do with the more recent ones. Doesn't he have to approve the scripts and stuff?
It's essentially like, you know, how people get the honorary executive producer title when they've contributed a lot to something. That's essentially what George Lucas was doing for the sequel trilogy. Everything 1 through 6 is George Lucas, though.
And don't forget Indiana Jones.
Those are great.
They were great. But you know what his first movie is? Now, this is going to stump you young guys. What was the first movie that made George Lucas? Quite frankly, I'm going to say it right now. If this movie wasn't made, Star Wars would have never been made when he was a young director and writing his own script. What movie was it? Don't look it up.
I won't look it up. Did he do American Graffiti?
He did do American Graffiti. He did it for $7,500,000. It made $114,000 in the box office, and then up to $140 million with re-releases. So now he's a golden boy, right? Meaning they're like, wow. And that story had nothing to do with the sci-fi stuff that this guy was into, right? It was a coming-of-age movie. This is for the younger audience here. It was about a bunch of college kids based on his hometown in Modesto, California. It was their last night at home before they headed to college. So it was a coming-of-age movie. But because it made so much money, when he came to them, like, all right, this is my next project, and people are dying to work with him now, the big shots. But they're like, wait, this Star Wars, you can't film this. He's like, no, I'm going to do sci-fi stuff. We're going to use the studio. This is before any of real special effects were coming on. But he convinced them, we have to do this movie. And they said to him, or not, they probably didn't say it to him because they didn't want to upset him. They were like, oh my God, let him do it. And then he'll get back to doing American Graffiti type stuff. But they still weren't happy. So he didn't take a director's fee because they were going wobbly on him. He said, he didn't take a fee for that, but he backed end everything, even all the merchandising. And that's probably what made him a billionaire, was that. But what a fascinating story. The offices are in the Presidio, which is under the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like working in a park. And the offices, the special effects company, it kind of feels like it's a museum because they got all the original props from all these movies, especially Star Wars and Indiana Jones. And as you walk through their lobby and through the whole place, that stuff is all over the place. Plus what was the movie with the dinosaurs eating everybody?
Oh, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's another one. So what a great place for her to be working at it and learning. And I learned the history of George Lucas because, I go to see something, I want to know all about it. What else was cool out there? Alcatraz was cool. Definitely worth the visit out to Alcatraz.
Do you think you could make that swim? I've had a couple friends that visited, and each one of them has told me the same thing, that they think they could make that swim to freedom if they needed to.
Well, the reason I know you can do it is because I've had friends that competed in an Ironman out there. And I don't know if you would swim exactly to Alcatraz, but you swim almost the distance in the same body of water. So yeah, I think it's very doable. And if you guys, Alcatraz is kind of in the same condition it was when Whitey Bulger was there, Al Capone was there, the Birdman. So when you do walk around it, it's pretty authentic what you're looking at. Very cool spot. You go out for a few hours, get back on the ferry and come back, and that's all you do. But anyway, any questions on San Francisco before I go to break? Because I feel like I'm a tour guide now.
No, it is interesting, though, that you said that you didn't think it was sort of as crime-riddled as it's, I guess, played up as. Because my girlfriend was there recently, and she said she actually enjoyed it. So I dug in a little bit, and Daniel Laurie, who's the new mayor now, he's more of a moderate than London Breed was. He beat her in the election. But evidently, he's placed an emphasis on policing and clearing homeless encampments, which may be the reason why it looks a lot better now than it did 2 years ago.
No, absolutely. There's definitely been an effort made there because I was shocked at even how there's so less trash. And that's another thing I wish Philadelphia could get their hands around, especially in Center City. You got to keep the trash out. You got to keep and the airport, you can't have homeless sleeping in your airport. It's the first impression. And I was taught that actually the man who taught me that was a football coach. That first impression on the field when you go up against someone who's lined up against you is so important, but he really meant it for life. If you're going into a business meeting, if you're meeting a woman, whatever it is, or a man, whoever you're meeting, I want to be inclusive about really your first impression in everything you do is really important. And Philadelphia Airport needs some improvement. There's no doubt about it. It definitely needs some improvement. A looks pretty good. The other ones don't look so good. And what you do is you compare it. If you travel, you compare it to other places, and you realize, we got to up our game in Philadelphia. There's no doubt about it.
And I'll just point out, I looked it up. Alcatraz to Aquatic Park, which I guess is where you swim for freedom. It's about 1.25 miles, but the water is shark infested. So I guess that's what complicates things.
Yeah, but okay, shark infested waters. Okay, I swim in shark infested waters in South Florida nearly every day.
Why?
If you fly a drone over there, I'm telling you, there's sharks everywhere, and there's tigers. The bull shark is up the river. I'm on a paddleboard out there. I swim in there. They they don't eat humans. So I don't think you have a lot to worry about if you're in the sand. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hoping for the best. But there's sharks all over where I'm swimming. I'm telling you that.
Tom Azelby, not afraid of sharks. Something we've learned in the opening segment of today's show.
I didn't. Were you guys here when I think it was a night show I did. I got to tell the story when we get back. I believe I was in a shark incident. We'll do that after the break.
That's a good tease.
Every bank talks about service, but WSFS Bank shows it every single day. Locally headquartered and committed to the region for nearly 2 centuries. People in your corner who care about your goals. National capabilities that take you wherever you want to grow. And with the wealth management expertise of Bryn Mawr Trust, your milestones are just a whiskfus away. WSFS Bank and Bryn Mawr Trust. We stand for service. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Bryn Mawr Trust is a division of WSFS Bank.
The intense July heat is here, and Philadelphia humidity is peaking. Don't wait for your energy bills to skyrocket before realizing your windows are failing. Call the pros at Window Nation now. Right now, you can get 50% off all window styles plus 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. Get the energy-efficient windows from Window Nation installed in 1 day or less without the hassle. Beat the heat, protect your home, and start saving today. Schedule your fast, free consultation now at windownation.com.
A diagnosis like heart country, because when it's your heart, you don't take chances. DemandDeborah.org.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Sometimes it feels like the news is full of things that have never happened before. And that is not exactly true. In fact, it may have happened this very week, hundreds or thousands of years ago. I'm Sally Helm, host of the podcast History This Week from the History Channel. Trade embargoes? Thomas Jefferson tried them. Rent too high? We've been arguing about that for a while. Each episode is proof. The past isn't that far away. Listen to History This Week, available now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Global smartphone demand was down in the second quarter, with industry researcher Omdia reporting a 4% sales decline, with a shortage of memory chips weighing on the supply chain, as well as higher component costs for manufacturers. Despite the overall trend, Apple and Samsung each saw stronger sales, with Samsung taking 22% of the market and Apple 20%, a record high for the iPhone maker. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. LendSeek.com. LendSeek.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby in on the afternoon show here in Philadelphia. So we were running through San Francisco, talking about San Francisco, and then we got into swimming from Alcatraz over to the city because Alcatraz is an island, and people do it in Ironman competitions or triathlons. But Matt brought up that it is riddled with sharks out there, and I started talking about swimming with sharks in South Florida where there are a lot of sharks. I actually believe there's too many sharks down there. And I say that there is a big debate down there between the fishermen and the environmentalists. There's a balance that's off down there because when you do fish down there, and I'm talking to guys who've been fishing for years, you're losing a lot of your catch. You see that gray thing come out of nowhere and just take your catch. It's very depressing, but you get used to it. You just put it. There's so much fish. You just put the bait back in the water and you'll catch something in a minute. But when I was talking about sharks and how many are in South Florida and that I'm in the water a lot down there, I will tell you a story. I'm on a paddleboard. I've told this story before on air, but it was on the late night show, okay? Here, like Misfit Island. I don't know who's listening, but that's where you talk about all weird conspiracy stuff and late at night and stuff. So anyway, I brought on a guy from the Dorsal Project. He's a shark expert. And I wanted to tell him the story of what happened and have him rule if he thinks I was hit by a shark. But technically, it wasn't me that got hit. It's me on a paddleboard and my friend on a paddleboard. We're about 3 feet apart. And we have to – the water down there is blue because the Gulf Stream hugs the coast around Jupiter, Florida. It's the closest, I believe, it comes to the Atlantic coast. So you get beautiful blue water. But I'm on my paddleboard. I'm standing. We now have to get across the inlet, and there's a lot of boats that have come through. So there's from the boats, there's the waves or whatever. But my friend has just gotten his knee repaired or whatever, so he's sitting down on the board. But I look down, and he's a sportsman. He's a fisherman, owns a boat or whatever. I look over him. I go, "What is that?" And I see this brown thing moving between us, about 2 feet apart. A second later. Boom! Hits the under part of his board, goes like 3 feet in the air, but he's sitting. If it had hit my board, I would have went flying in because I'm standing. He grabs his board and he does this visceral yell at WTF. And I heard that yell before too. I saw him blow out his ACL once and he lost his mind. It's a crazy story. It was in a game and he was screaming so loud that the trainer grabbed him, who was very Christian, and was working the knee and finally grabbed him by his chest and said, "Get a hold of yourself, son." Anyway, we're losing the point of this story here. So anyway, I just say paddle. Just paddle. Let's just get out of the area. So I bring this dorsal fin guy on, and I'm telling you, the front of that board came up 3 feet or 4 feet. It was almost getting up towards perpendicular where he could have fallen off the back of the board. And there's a lot of bull sharks, and a bull shark will come up to test and give you a bump. But now I got to tell you what the dorsal fin guy said, which ruins my freaking story because we wanted it to be a shark attack because we were, it's cool to survive one, right? Like it's bragging rights. And his brother, who's also a fisherman, says, I think it was a manatee. And I'm like, a manatee can't hit a board that hard. That's impossible for a manatee to do that. But what the dorsal fin guy, the shark expert who tags sharks said, he goes, it could be a manatee. He goes, when they hit up their tail, if something's above them, he says you could actually see a video of it. So the dorsal fin guy he was my guest, so he probably didn't want to like ruin my story. So he kind of came out neutral, but I think if I put him on a lie detector, say he's like, dude, you didn't get hit by a shark. But anyway, that's the story. Any comments?
I always hear people mistaking sunfish for sharks as well. Aren't those like kind of stupid fish that just kind of like bob in the water for a while, but they have the dorsal fin, so people assume, oh, that's a shark.
Well,
but if it hit you, it probably wasn't a sunfish. Yeah, I think they just kind of like bob around.
Yeah, this was like a real hit. So he said the tail of a manatee, and there's a lot of manatee down there. The manatee could actually knock your board up really high. It'd be a powerful hit, even though they're gentle. I've been in the water where a manatee came out. I was swimming with my daughter, and I'm like, don't touch it. And it starts kissing my neck. And they got this weird mouth. And I was like, yo, back up, fella. Back up.
That's creepier than the attack.
And if you see the little mouth, it's like really odd. It's very uncomfortable because you're not supposed to touch them.
Yeah.
And they can sneak up on you, too. Like my son, I saw him in the water once come up like he was like in a panic. But he looked, and it was just a manatee just bumped them a little off to the side. They're great. They are fun to see out there.
I'll be honest. If seaweed so much as touches my foot while I'm in the ocean, it freaks me out. So right. I don't know if I want to go swimming in the waters near Tom Azelby.
Well, and I'm telling you, even if you're swimming off the Jersey Shore, you know, there's a lot of sharks out there
Cape
now.
Cod's like real bad with the great white sharks, especially like in August, September. I think that's peak season. But they'll actually have drones and spotter planes out there trying to make sure that sharks aren't coming too close to where people are swimming.
Yeah. No, it's even the great whites are seen off the coast of Florida. A guy just posted a video. He was down there spearfishing, but he's like a photography video guy. He's crazy in a good way. Like I follow him all the time on Facebook. He's called Paul DeBill. If you want to see great things off of Jupiter, that guy's videos. He shot a cohiba swimming over a tiger shark, because cohibas look around for scraps after a shark starts chewing on something.
What the hell is a cohiba?
It's a really good tasting fish. Oh. It is. If you catch one, you want to eat them. So here's the tiger shark, and the cohiba's swimming right above it, like looking for the shark to eat something so he can grab it. This guy spearfishes it right above the tiger. You talk about guts. But I guess, like anybody, if you live in an environment like that, you do what you do. So with that said, do we have a guest on the line? I think I've talked enough about San Francisco. And
not yet.
Okay.
No.
Well, why don't we talk about that guy, Harry Sisson? Do we have a...
I
was going to say Harry Sisson.
No, he's a tough guy now.
No, I know. That's why I want to talk about him.
This is cut number 23, I believe, Justin.
And I've suggested to people before in interviews, I'm like, I want to fight them. I think
fight them?
Yeah. Like if Stephen Miller would agree, or one of the Trump children, or like anybody in the administration, I want to fight them.
God, you know what? That I would go pay to see on the White House lawn.
That's what I'm saying.
In a UFC.
Why are we doing the UFC event? Why don't we just settle some political beef? I'll take anybody in the White. I boxed for 4 years, and if they want to, I'd get back into training camp, get in the best shape of my life, and go fight one of them.
I would do it too.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. There's so many people that would do it.
Okay, that's Don Lemon. Two guys that couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag, as my father would say. These two are talking about getting in the ring and kicking people's asses. Okay, I took some notes on this guy. Drives me nuts. I don't hear from him as much. He spoke a lot more when Joe Biden was president. This Harry Sisson, he's like a TikTok guy. Man, they go after him. He's very twinkish. That's what someone said. I'm just repeating. I'm repeating what I read. And he's got like a baby boy. I don't know. He's just so soft. But anyway, he has not boxed in a ring. He's gone to some inner city yuppie workout place to hit pads with the stay-at-home moms. He's never been on a wrestling mat. He's never been in a boxing ring. He's talking about fighting people in a boxing ring where he's just gone for boxing workouts. This guy has never boxed, I'm sure. Maybe I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong about it, he wasn't good at it. I could just tell by looking at him. This guy has never been in a ring. And let me tell you, he's 23 years old. He's 5'8". He looks soft. I would bet on the Trump. Don's 6'1", Eric's 6'5". Now these guys are in their 40s. Don is a hardcore outdoorsman. I've read his book. This guy could live off the land, even though he's a billionaire. They can operate every heavy piece of equipment in the construction business. They've lived on construction sites their whole life. Most billionaires' kids are out hanging out, partying, having a great time. These two were actually put to work by the crazy man, Donald Trump, hanging sheetrock and everything else. I think they would beat, I don't know about Stephen Miller. Maybe he could take Stephen Miller, but that's not saying much. And Stephen Miller never claimed to be a fighter, right? But even I think I'd bet on Stephen Miller.
I think I'd pick Susan Collins to kick his ass if it came down to it.
Possibly. So you guys know this guy. You've gotten to look at him, right?
Oh, he's awful. Yeah. He's all over TikTok. Yeah. And he also had he disappeared for a little while, to your point.
Yeah.
And it was right after this story came out about how he was basically misleading and manipulating women on Snapchat into sending him graphic images.
Yeah.
And then claiming like, "Oh, you're my girlfriend." Well, it turns out he was talking to like 24 different women, all getting them to do the same thing.
Well, hold on. You're giving him a little credibility. At least he's acting like a man. He's asking for naked pictures from women.
I don't know what he was doing with them.
I remember that scandal. Okay, he was in that scandal. One thing's for sure. Because I looked up, what did he do in high school? Was he involved in any athletics? Did he play baseball, football, basketball, wrestling? Nothing. Nothing comes up. So I know this guy is at like the all women, the hitting the pads and kind of moving around. But anyway, I will say this. I think Don Lemon could beat him up.
Oh, Don Lemon could absolutely take him.
I think because Don Lemon seems like he's got like a real feminine anger streak in him. Like where he could, I think he'd beat up Harry. That's a fight I would like to see.
Give Don Lemon a couple of Prosecco's. Who knows what he's capable of?
Well, didn't he? Yeah, didn't he bite some guy in a bar somewhere allegedly?
Oh, did he? I didn't know that. That sounds familiar now that you mention it.
Yeah,
I'll have to look into it.
There was something along those lines with Don Lemon.
Don Lemon, we give him a lot of grief. He looks great for 60 years old. I couldn't believe he's 60.
He's 60 years old? No, he's
60?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's shocking. And we'll move right. We'll go from Sisson into another thing. But I think the Trump boys would give him a beatdown. What bothers me is I had that idea for years. That MAGAs would fight leftists. No, I know. I thought that would be a great fundraiser for St. Jude's. Like, I think you could, if it was 20 years ago when I was starting out, I thought about that idea. You know how they bring these wrestling matches into like church gyms and stuff? And boxing's kind of died. But if you did an MMA kind of combat sports, and they do that, tough man competitions or whatever, but you did MAGA against the left, the problem is your fighters, you'd have so many more fighters from MAGA. Like getting Democrat fighters would be hard, and I'm not saying that to insult them. It would be hard based on the demographic of very leftist men who I don't even know if they're that leftist, but their wives are a little bit more hefty and tougher than they are. So
I've got the fight I've decided I want to see, by the way.
Who do you want to see?
I was thinking about people that are within the Trump administration or like at least tangentially linked to the administration. Nick Bosa is actually still on the President's Council for Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition.
Yeah.
I would like to see the 49ers defensive end versus Harry Sisson in the octagon or the boxing ring.
Well, he would destroy it. But he made a comment about Joe.
He said anyone.
He said Joe Rogan. And then he walked it back, I heard. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
you don't
guys
want that.
confirmed that. Joe Rogan would pound him into the ground. Like, obviously. I mean, we're doing, like, it's Harry Sisson. Let's get a hold of ourselves.
Joe Rogan's done MMA longer than he's been alive.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I think he walked it back. But anyway, that's our Harry Sisson episode.
Our sissy segment.
Yeah. Wow. But you know what? It's a good way to make a comeback. We're talking about him because I thought he just faded away for a while. Let me ask you, guys, everybody's seeing this thing on Fox News where these migrants from Africa, and I believe it's Ceuta, C-E-U-T-A. Okay, so Ceuta, when I heard about this first, I thought people were coming over from Morocco. And if you drive by, well, no, that's Gibraltar. Morocco's further out. But I was thinking that these migrants, and they said they were like, if you see the video, it looks like there's thousands of them coming across. There could be a couple thousand that came across, but they say the video image looks scary. But what, at first I was like, why this? So someone said a really large number, but it's only a couple thousand, and that's far less what we saw running across our southern border. Far less. I think they had up to 10,000 at a time in a day, but maybe not in one spot. But what's important to know that Ceuta is a Spanish territory in Africa. So if you can get to Ceuta, the territory that Spain still owns, I would assume in northern Africa, where there's a lot of Muslim Arab populations that are trying to get off the continent, they flood into there. And my understanding is now I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not a big deal because they could process them right the heck out of there. But my understanding is they will now process them and bring them over to the mainland Spain because Spain agreed to some European law about refugees, I don't know how many years ago.
Yeah, it was the Spanish Supreme Court decision. It was actually earlier this month. Migrants who arrive by sea cannot be immediately pushed back across the border without due process, which is unlike those who cross into Spain by land. And these migrants, I believe, are swimming about 3.1 miles in order to get to Ceuta. And, I mean, obviously, that's incredibly dangerous. And there's at least 3 people that we know of that are confirmed having drowned before they reach their destination.
So Ceuta, is it an island in Africa? If they have to swim,
it's connected. It's like connected to Morocco. It's an autonomous city, like on the very northeastern edge.
Okay.
Of continental Africa, but it's still owned by Spain.
So Spain owns it. So the question is, with this new ruling, if you get to Ceuta, are you now guaranteed, like we were guaranteed, once you got across to the United States border, supposedly, if you're looking for asylum, if you cross from Panama, cross into Mexico, you got to stay in the first place you land at. But we changed all the rules and let them in, and then they would have court dates 18 months to 3 years later, which no one showed up in. So is this big Russia migration there? Will they automatically now get it into Spain, or that's up in the air?
It looks like yes. They can't be pushed back across the border without due process. So it doesn't seem as though they're going anywhere. And quite frankly, I'm not sure how you would even get them back, considering they didn't come by boat. They're all swimming. And as a consequence of that, the vast majority of the people that are showing up are like young males.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because they're probably the only ones that are like fit enough to make that swim.
Yeah, and then they're going to go work and send money back to...
It's for economic reasons, yeah.
Absolutely.
If you look at the YouTube stream right now, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a map that shows where Ceuta is compared to Morocco and where it is compared to Gibraltar and Spain. So it's like still connected to Morocco.
Right.
So I think what they're doing is they're swimming from that very outer edge of Morocco onto Ceuta, like through the Mediterranean, and that's how they're bypassing this law. They're bypassing the law to get this due process into the Spanish mainland.
Okay, so if they had taken a boat, jumped off the boat a mile off the coast of Spain and swam in, they could be turned back. But because they did it this way, they're being allowed in?
I think even no matter how they got there,
Right.
as long as they came by water, they're not going to be turned back. At least that's my understanding of what the Spanish Supreme Court decision consists
Wow, this
of.
is kind of like it's like these countries in Europe have made a suicide pact.
It's insane because the officials in Ceuta are saying, and this is a quote, the situation is absolute chaos. The border has totally collapsed. Then Spain's Interior Ministry said that they would guarantee the safety of citizens and the integrity of the nation's border, but that the government would not declare a national emergency over migration concerns. So it doesn't sound as though the army is going to be there anytime soon to restore the frontier.
And Spain is a socialist government.
Yeah,
right
their
now,
prime,
right?
Yeah, their prime minister is
He's
very
socialist.
progressive.
Yeah, and I think he even labels himself a socialist. Is that true? Because I like in the news, they kind of they make it out that that Spain is social. Spain's socialist. You know, it's funny. I was in Spain back in the 90s, and I remember, and I would, this is when I was young, and we were out hanging out with young Spaniards or whatever, and running around having a good time. But even back then, they were, it must have been 2000, the early 2000s. Even back then, they were very anti-Bush, George Bush. They were anti-American, not in like an aggressive or arrogant way, just like, oh, you're Americans, your politics are the worst. And I was like, wow, that was kind of like, I always thought back then politics wasn't on the tip of everyone's tongue like it is today. Like back then, I was like, wow, really? I've been to other countries, and no one's first thing they want to tell you is how rotten your country is politically. But I think Spain has probably had that anti-American kind of sensibility for a very long time. That's my guess.
And yeah, I mean, when the U.S. was conducting airstrikes in Iran, I think they refused to allow the U.S. to use Spain territory to basically launch the strikes, or the Spanish airspace.
Yeah, and the British did that for a few days too.
And some information on Pedro Sanchez, Spain's prime minister. He's the Secretary General of the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party.
Ah, there we go.
Been the president since 17th of June 2017, and he's also the president of the Socialist International, a position he's held since November 2022.
Well, Democrats have a big problem because some of these polls that are coming out with who want the Democratic Socialists of America who've come out and said, like, we're not Democrats, we're only in the party to take it over. They're basically a parasitic movement. But the polls that come out for people under 45 that identify, the numbers are really high. Really high. I don't want to give a percentage, but I thought I heard 45% would identify, and there's all different categories as socialists. It's bad for the country, but it's probably good for the right in America because a lot of people are afraid of socialism, as they should be. But that's where all the energy is in the Democratic Party. Yeah, all the energy's there, and you will get what Spain's getting, and the rest of Europe is getting. Once you go socialist, man, the doors are open for anybody and everybody. You saw it with Joe Biden, who was half out of it, but the culture of his administration, the energy and spirit of that administration was really far left. Kamala Harris and all the people that kind of were just feeding off of the Joe Biden incompetence. They're a heavy left, and now you're going either, I think, further left where. When someone's willing to tell you they're part of the Democratic Socialists of America and there's the name socialist in it, they're not kidding around. They're like right in your face. They're telling you exactly who they are. But it's going to have to be a civil war in the Democratic Party. I think they're going to win.
The Democratic Socialists?
I think they're going to win in the long run because Trump's kind of sees the middle. There's nowhere to go but left. Trump sees the middle as far as, tariffs, the working class, no tips. He's kind of grabbed all those things. Even the abortion issue's over. He sent that all back to the states. It's hard to argue now. So I don't think the Democrats, kind of what people would call moderate Democrats, I don't even know how moderate they are, But I really don't see where they go. What do you guys think? Where does a moderate Democrat go? Like from a political philosophy?
I do think the DNC is very concerned about the rise of the DSA, and the proof would be that they've rearranged their nomination process in 2028 for the presidency.
Yeah.
It used to be the Iowa caucus, New Hampshire, and then I think South Carolina. Well, now South Carolina is scheduled to be the first state to hold a primary in 2028. And obviously in 2020, it was South Carolina that basically prevented Bernie Sanders from getting a stranglehold on things and stealing that nomination. South Carolina voted overwhelmingly in favor of Joe Biden and really like resurrected his chances. So I think that reshuffling is a sign that you're definitely correct. There's got to be some sort of internal panic, like because the activist left will vote for the more progressive candidate in the primary election. But you're trying to appeal to the moderate voter during the general election.
Yeah.
And they're not going to, I don't think, be swayed by an AOC or some other, member of the DSA.
Well, here's what New Hampshire, the University of New Hampshire did a poll, right? And they polled Democrats. New Hampshire takes their voting serious. Like people are really into their voting up there. And AOC got the most votes, which I found really surprising. She was the number one vote getter. So I don't know what that's telling us. And I think anyway, we'll do some predictions later in the show. Let's go to break, and we'll be right back in the afternoon show with Tom Azelby here on 1210 WPHT in Philadelphia.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father, not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 100 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates and get ready to succeed again. At UMGC, success is yours for the taking and the making, and nothing should keep you from it, especially not an application fee. Apply now and we'll waive your application fee. Classes start August 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The Bloomberg Market Minute, sponsored by Piazza Auto Group. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A snapback rally today on Wall Street, especially with tech, and that is thanks in large part to Microsoft. Shares are up significantly after its earnings showed investors it's really starting to see returns on all the billions it's been spending on artificial intelligence. Starbucks also getting some attention. That's after an earnings beat and an upbeat outlook. Another setback, though, in housing. Home prices still rising. Just this week, though, average long-term mortgage rates hit 6.66%. That's the highest level in a year, according to Freddie Mac, as the war in Iran and higher oil prices keep inflation stubbornly high. And watch for bargain airfares to become extinct. Airlines are now adopting AI to change seat prices more quickly by weighing dozens of variables in real time. That's helping capture more revenue while shrinking pricing gaps between the airlines and discount airlines. That could lead to higher fares on busy routes, but could also result in lower fares on off-peak and lower demand routes. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Drip Drop is a doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams, Drip Drop is engineered to hydrate faster and more effectively than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. That's dripdrop.com, promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. Head to dripdrop.com now and use promo code RADIO20.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
From 3 to 6, you'll agree. Everyone loves WPHT, so tune in and stay a while. We'll keep you company mile by mile. 3 to 6, loud and free. Time to listen to Azelby.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby on the afternoon show. I'll be here with you to 6 o'clock. Our guest is lined up. I'll give you a little bit of background. State Representative Walter Hudson from the state of Minnesota. And I'm bringing him on because he's a great resource. He's a Republican. He's the assistant Republican leader. And what I was telling you before, I've seen him down in front of Congress on committees, and he's a straight shooter. And sometimes they'll have Democrats sitting next to him from Minnesota, and when he starts talking, it's the opposite of what they're telling you, and you can tell by their faces they don't like the truth. So, Walter Hudson, Representative, welcome to the afternoon show here in Philadelphia.
Happy to be here, Tom, and happy to talk to the fine folks in Philadelphia.
It's great to have you. You know, I want to let my audience know we're gonna be digging into the Fauci meeting in the Congress yesterday, or the interrogation where he didn't answer a question. But I love your takes on Minnesota. I follow you on X, and I want you to tell everyone later in the interview where people can follow you, because you have some good stuff there. I like your opinion, not only on Minnesota, but what's going on in the country, what's going on in the world. What do you think of that Fauci thing? You've sat in that seat in front of Congress. What did you think of the performance yesterday? Not really from Fauci, but the questions.
Well, I mean, I think it's best summed up by the memes that you're seeing on social media, particularly the references to the Dave Chappelle sketch of pleading the fifth.
Right.
It is a joke. It is funny, right? But it's also infuriating and deadly serious, literally deadly serious.
Yeah.
And I definitely vibe with expressions from folks like Matt Walsh, Steve Deace, and others who are saying things like, okay, cool, thanks for the show, but when do we see real consequences?
Yeah.
Which is the same sort of thing that people say in response to the billions of dollars of fraud we've seen here in Minnesota and other states. It's like, great, have your hearings, that's awesome. I want to see people in handcuffs. And I don't want to see Joe Schmo, who I don't know. I want to see the people who have been trusted with public trust, who are responsible for setting the stage of policy to enable this to happen. Those are the folks who need to go to jail. People are sick and tired of just letting politicians do whatever they want. They want real accountability, and it's past time to see it happen.
And I agree with you 100%. Now, we're going to go with Fauci. He's got that presidential pardon where there is some ways possibly for states to go after him. But you brought up this is a good thing. The people that stole all that money in Minnesota, and a lot of it came out of the Somalian community, a lot of that theft and grift. Well, it's not even grift, it's theft. That's a good thing to update us on. Where are the prosecutions there in Minnesota, if any? What's the outcome right now, or is it still all under investigation?
Well, I don't begrudge you for assuming that a lowly state legislator would be more tied into what's going on behind the scenes than the average citizen on the street. But the fact of the matter is, I am not read into anything that's going on behind the scenes with the federal prosecutions. I know what you know in terms of watching the news and reading the headlines. And what I'll tell you is there's a lot more that can happen. And I'm just happy that they're doing what they're doing. I mean, you roll the clock back a year and a half, 18 months. I was predicting that by the end of last year, Tim Walz and Keith Ellison would be in handcuffs. And that was based upon what I knew anecdotally from folks who I had talked to, who posited very plausible stories about what was taking place and who was responsible for it here in Minnesota, and the fact that the Democrats are very much in on the scheme and designed it on purpose and have protected these folks as a political constituency. And to my mind, I mean, if anybody who's elected to office is going to get arrested for anything, they should get arrested for that. I mean, we've seen governors, mayors put in handcuffs and thrown in jail, thrown in prison.
Yeah.
I don't know what it takes to get Tim Walz and Keith Ellison put away. I mean, they're and Ilhan Omar for that matter.
Yeah.
Their complicity in this is very obvious. So I'm hoping there's something we don't know about that is developing.
Well, you know that, and I had a question for you with Ilhan Omar. Is her brand or her stock weakening out there in Minnesota, or is this empowering her? Now, Waltz is gone because he's withdrawn from trying to be the governor again. But what about her? Do you see any damage? Has she been wounded at all politically?
She has. The problem is her district is so deeply blue that really the only plausible way to combat her is through a Democrat primary challenge. And I'm not currently aware if there's in the past couple of cycles, there have been folks who have challenged her in the Democrat primary who were more moderate, more normal Democrats, and they failed. But in terms of a Republican taking that seat, it's a very, very high bar, very, very uphill battle. But in spite of that, yes, she's taken tremendous political damage, particularly and perhaps counterintuitively from her own community. So the Somali community, you know, when we think about like ethnic, racial, community, tribal bonds, you know, we tend to think in terms of, on the meta level, but within the Somali community, it's very different. They're broken up into very different tribes that hate each other.
Right.
And most, if not all of the elected Somalis in the United States come from one tribe, and all the other tribes hate them. And so that has created, that's why in our Minneapolis mayor race recently, Omar Fateh, who was a former state senator, failed to become the next mayor of Minneapolis because his own people turned against him from other tribes.
Right.
So
okay.
There's real divisions there.
So and people from the outside probably think it's monolithic. They're all saying the same thing. But so you can divide and conquer out there, and it's not like you're going to get a nice Republican from some of these districts. But life's about improvement and by percentages. So there is some hope that this kind of tribal mentality or culture could weaken Ilhan Omar's political future, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to, I think of, prayers in the Old Testament asking for God to confuse the enemy camp. That's kind of what's going on, not just in the Somali community, but also in the Democrat coalition, because you've got the Democrat Socialists of America who are causing trouble for anybody who is, to the right of Stalin or Missile, right? And so there's confusion within their camp and an opportunity for conservatives and Republicans to take advantage of the chaos that they're sowing within their own side. But we've got to be smart about it, and we've got to be united about it. And that seems to be a problem for us.
So let's go from a statewide, if we're talking about Minnesota. Like Keith Ellison, he's running for the Attorney General again. Then you have Waltz, who's dropping out. But now there are brands out there. See, I try to always look for, are we going in the right direction? The recent thing, the pardoning of the child molester. From a statewide thing, that has to be taking some blowback from both people in Minnesota that are conservative or in the middle or not conservative. Okay, this is a bridge too far for us. Are you getting any of that from this latest thing with the child molester? And so the audience knows they pardoned him to prevent him from being deported by ICE. That's pretty much how it went. Rubio stepped in. He's the hero and shut that down and got him out of here before they could stop that process. That's how I understand it, but you could share more about that with the audience.
Well, that's how I understand it as well, and thank God for the Trump administration and Marco Rubio. I mean, they're doing a bang-up job, particularly in that regard and on this issue. What I will tell you is that the last time Keith Ellison ran, which was 4 years ago, he barely squeaked by.
Right.
He barely squeaked by. And this time around, there's not really a whole lot of reason to suspect that he's going to do better. You look at this fraud story and Ellison's personal connection to it, and then what you just mentioned of taking a vote. And by the way, in 2023, 2024, when the Democrats had a trifecta in this state, they intentionally changed the rules of how these pardons work. Previously, so the pardon committee or commission or whatever they call themselves has three members: the governor, the attorney general, and the chief justice of the Supreme Court in Minnesota.
Yep, there's three of them.
Our chief justice is actually, despite being a Democrat, a relatively reasonable human being. And because of that, the Democrats decided that they were going to change the rules from requiring a unanimous 3-0 vote to we just need two of them, because they knew that Walz and Ellison were on board with the Maoist Marxist nonsense. And so they made a very intentional, the whole Democrat Party took a very intentional course for exactly this sort of thing, to set rapists free. That's what they want to do.
But
they want to set all the criminals free.
I got a question, though. I thought that it was a unanimous decision. Did that justice vote against those two, or did she vote with them, or he?
I suppose I don't actually know the answer to that question. I assume she voted against, but I don't know that.
You know what? I thought I was pretty surprised when I thought that they got a hat trick. They got all three, but I'm not 100% sure. But unfortunately, I think they might have. She might have. Is it a she or a he? It's irrelevant. We'll have to look at that. But I think might have went the other way. All three went that way. That's what I remember, but I could be wrong too. So we'll move to the next. Waltz is out. It looks like Klobuchar is going to be your next governor. First question, is Klobuchar, and I would say yes, but I'm going to ask, you're from Minnesota. I would think she is at least an improvement from Tim Walz.
I couldn't possibly disagree more.
Perfect.
Amy Klobuchar, Amy Klobuchar is worse than Walz in a very particular way.
Okay.
She, policy-wise and ideology-wise, she represents exactly the same thing with no difference whatsoever. And that's no commentary on her personal opinions. I have no idea what her personal opinions are.
Yeah.
But I know what party she's in, and I know what the controlling interest in that party is, and it's the DSA. It's the Democrat Socialists of America.
Right.
They're going to go wherever their crazies drag them by the nose. And Amy Klobuchar is not immune to that. She is also notoriously a terrible person, like just personally, has the highest staff turnover in Washington, D.C., treats her people like garbage. And if that's the way she treats the people who actually work for her, imagine what she thinks about you, the common voter.
Yeah.
Probably nothing at all, right? But she can present well. She makes hot dishes. She smiles, right? So, and she's not as dopey as Walz.
Yeah.
So in all those senses, she's worse than Tim Walz because she could actually sell this nonsense to people.
That's, it's a good perspective, and you're absolutely right. I'm like, listen, Klobuchar, she can't be as kooky, but from the outside, she might not have that weirdo thing that Walz has going on, but underneath it all, she might be more effective because he was a bit of a clown. That's what you're saying, and I'm getting it.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly right.
That's and I'm going to circle back to Fauci for a second. These the city of Minneapolis, the statistics on what happened with the George Floyd riots, the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, the damage they did to that beautiful city by fires, destroying it, attacking the police precinct, all of that. I blame Fauci and COVID lockdowns for that. So, and the reason I make that point is Fauci's tentacles reached into every city, every town, every family, every school. One man affected so much in this country, and I believe what happened in Minneapolis, some of that rests on his shoulders. Your thoughts?
Well, listen, there was very clearly and has maintained a double standard of justice depending on your political alignment. I mean, and there's probably no clearer example of that than the way we were treated during 2020, during the COVID era and the summer of love. While your local neighborhood basketball hoop had 2x4s stapled on either end so you couldn't use it, right, just to discourage anybody from going outside. At the exact same time, Jacob Fry was crying at the massively attended funeral of George Floyd, and they allowed these quote-unquote protests, which were actually unlawful assemblies and riots and crimes in action, crimes in progress, to take place for days here in Minnesota. They allowed the city to literally burn.
Yeah.
And they celebrated it because these folks, listen, the biggest problem we have on the right is that we seem to be incapable of comprehending just how vile our opposition is. These are people who are nihilists. They hate human life. They hate justice. They hate good. And they are the sworn enemies of it. And once you accept that, everything they do makes sense.
Yep.
Suddenly you're like, I get it. I understand exactly why they're doing this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah,
and so
that's a
it's
good
been terrible.
point. That's a very good point. I had that discussion with someone today who's very political. He starts telling me how bad they are, the left, what we're up against. I'm like, yeah, I know that. So I say to people, lower your expectations. They're as bad as you think they could be. And that Jacob Fry, just so the audience knows, he was the mayor of Minneapolis. He's another William and Mary graduate, too. And I got a lot of good friends who went there. But that place seems to put out a bunch of winners. And I won't leftist winners in the sense that they're here to wreck things like James Comey and there's quite a few other ones. But he's a William and Mary graduate. I like to point that out because some of these finer institutions put out real whack jobs. There's no doubt about it. And Jacob Fry is one of them. Where is he as far as from a term standpoint? Is he still the mayor of Minneapolis? Did he win again? What's the history there?
Well, so just to give you a snapshot of how pathetic things are here in Minnesota, he did win. He is the current mayor of Minneapolis. And we were all grateful and relieved because the alternative was the aforementioned Omar Fattah, who's a DSA all the way through.
Yep.
And so, even though Jacob is ridiculous and not a good leader and has made terrible decisions, he's still somehow significantly more competent than the alternative.
And what you're highlighting right there, and I've been telling people about this, these blue cities are they appear to only be going bluer, not bluer, more socialist, more left-wing craziness. And I don't see anything slowing that train down. So my point is to people that if you think it's bad now, it can only get worse. And I see that in Philadelphia. People say the DSA isn't really into Philadelphia. It's too I don't know what they're saying, but I'm saying the Democratic mayor today, she's done a couple of good things, keeping the crime under control, some not so good things. But I say to people that the next step is going to most likely, the next election cycle or two is going to be worse. And you can say that for Seattle, Portland, Boston. You saw what just happened in New York with Mandami. That it actually looks like even if they're as crazy as you think they are, they're going to go a little bit crazier.
Well, that's 100% correct. And listen, all you need to do is be a student of history, right? Like wherever socialism, communism, Marxism has taken root, they always eat their own. They always push further and harder. And they're always moving forward, right? Like they use that terminology going back to Obama, we're moving forward, we're progressing.
Yeah.
And so really the only way to stop them in all sincerity is force. They will not stop voluntarily. And so we really have two choices. We can either craft and implement and execute policy through the rule of law that punishes people for being traitors to the United States, or we can go along the route of counter-revolution, which will eventually happen at some point because I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people who aren't going to take it past a certain point.
I get it. We're going to leave it there. I got to go to break. Walter Hudson, state rep from Minnesota. Keep up the good fight. Where can people reach you real quick?
At Walter Hudson on Twitter, that Walter Hudson on YouTube, and Hudson for MN.com.
Sounds good. We'll go to break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Walter.
Tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-329-1010. That's 1-800-329-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-329-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Lenseek.
Global smartphone demand was down in the second quarter, with industry researcher Omdia reporting a 4% sales decline, with a shortage of memory chips weighing on the supply chain, as well as higher component costs for manufacturers. Despite the overall trend, Apple and Samsung each saw stronger sales, with Samsung taking 22% of the market and Apple 20%, a record high for the iPhone maker. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby here in Philadelphia. I'm with you today from 3 to 6. I'll be back Saturday morning, 8 to 9 for the Tom Azelby Show every Saturday. All right, we're gonna get into a little international stuff, but me, Matt, and Justin are gonna go hard on Fauci. We're gonna really break that all down for you in a little bit after this interview. So, bringing up my next guest is Joshua Klein. He's with Breitbart News. He's a reporter. He handles national security. He knows the Middle East well. He went to he's a Philly guy. Went to university in Israel. He served in the IDF. So he, as Trump says, it's a bad neighborhood, and no one is better to tell us about that bad neighborhood than Joshua Klein. Joshua, welcome to the show this afternoon on Philadelphia 1210.
It's great to be back, Tom. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I'm going to hit you. You know me. I like to do rapid fire with you, Joshua.
Go ahead. I've been under rapid fire.
Because there's so much to cover. So the first thing, let's do Mandami wanting to, based on a warrant by the International Criminal Court, the ICC, which the United States doesn't listen to. It has no authority. But the mayor of New York City was threatening to have Netanyahu arrested based on this November 2024 ruling by the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Bibi doesn't care, does he?
Of course he doesn't care, and it's based absolutely on nothing. This plan was never to implement it. There is no way to do it. Mamdani is no idiot.
Yeah.
He knows that. America is not a partner to something called the Rome Statute, which would implement this. It was legally impossible. This entire thing was a coordinated plan by Mamdani, who definitely has some jihadist leanings, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, there was actually, I'm not saying that there was a correlation between his rhetoric and the violent attack that happened against an outwardly looking Orthodox Jew and an Asian American. The perpetrator was screaming Allahu Akbar. It was about 24 hours later after he put out a video that was seen by 150 million people. 150 million people. It just takes a couple or two wackos. Obviously, the message of the video is that Israel is committing genocide. Therefore, that message becomes the Jews are committing genocide. The Jews in New York, which happen to make up about 10% of the population, are already taking about 55% of all hate crime attacks as it is. So he is literally embering the flames to fire on purpose, and it was very calculated.
Yeah, and Mamdani, here's the thing. He is definitely a socialist, leftist. He's a Marxist. We can go through all his things. In New York, in the newspapers and some of the right-leaning writers, he's very performative. They call him a theater kid. I think it's spot on, but these type of things that he's doing in the biggest, supposedly greatest city in the world, which I think it's lost that title on so many ways, from any big blue city in the United States now. I'm not calling it the greatest place in the world, but this type of theater production that this guy puts on, what you said, he knew damn well he wasn't getting anyone arrested, but that type of sentiment putting out there causes trouble. It creates havoc. That's what it does.
Yeah, I mean, this is a preview for all of America. I mean, this man is not just the face of New York. He's becoming the celebrity of getting people elected in Congress. He's teaming up with AOC, the popularity right now we're seeing of socialism within the Democratic Party. So, I mean, I in a way, I'm disgusted that, this is happening to New York, a great city.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't want to see this spreading any further. And unfortunately, it already has. And, he is the face of it, along with his buddy AOC and a few other people, and the future of the Democratic Party, and especially the primaries that are coming up now. I mean, people have to take this serious, and it needs to stop, and people can do that with voting.
I'm going to get back to the Middle East, but I will make my opinion here. I don't think whatever train we've all gotten on as a country, we're headed for a blue state, red state country in the very near future. And I could have a whole show of how I think that can work out. And it's not all actually completely awful. But I think for now, we're not slowing the train down. So that's just the feeling I have. And I'm not that upset with it. I don't think it's good for the country, but anyone coming in saying they're going to unify us now and in the next few election cycles, I think they're out of their mind. I really do believe we're headed towards a blue-red state country and whatever that brings. And Pennsylvania is the one we got to keep. New Jersey is cooked. I'm from there. North Jersey, South Jersey, it's cooked. I think it's done. But Pennsylvania is the one we have to hang on to because I know you're very politically savvy. So what's your view about blue state, red state? That's where we're going. And then we'll get back to the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, it's just factual. I mean, if you look at the last two election cycles, it comes down to these states, these critical states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, and usually comes down to a total of 40,000 votes, and that's the elections amongst these 7 battleground states. I think Pennsylvania was on general like 30,000 votes on a micro level. I mean, if it swung literally 30,000 votes the other way, we would have had President Clinton. I mean, it's critical. That's why I say people need to be engaged and vote. I mean, like it's on that level. It's just factual. Number-wise, I'm a number man. The facts speak for themselves, especially in these battleground states. Beyond belief in Pennsylvania is,
And I'll add to it. I think blue states have added a component with their non-compliance with the sanctuary cities the marijuana laws, that has opened up a Pandora's box, because I think if the country flips to a Democratic president, and I think this is all going to weaken the federal government, which in the end might work out for us, and we're kind of getting off track, but I believe that you are going to see noncompliance from red states on different things that they don't agree with. And that could be guns, it could be whatever federal law, it could be grazing rights, it could be, there's a lot of different things the red can non-comply with too. So I think this red state, blue state, with the Democrats opening up, we're not going to pay attention to federal law when it comes to how immigration is handled. I think down the road that's going to work against them, and I think it's going to create more havoc for the federal government. It's just an opinion. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, unfortunately, I don't want to give too many thoughts on it because I think we're heading in a very scary direction if things don't calm down like a little bit right now. But exactly, I mean, states not listening to the federal government. I mean, like just literally, we're talking about like, civil war types of stuff, not necessarily on physical conflict level.
No, and I don't believe it has to be a violent conflict. Not at all. It could be like lawfare to a certain extent.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll even think we'll start arguing over who gets extradited from one state to the next. Like, it's off subject, but I did want to. We kind of went down that road, and I wanted to throw it in there. So let's get back. Yeah. Let's get back to the Middle East, because I know that is. You know that area better than anyone. Gaza today, it was in the news every day. And of course, there was the whole media thing to make Israel with the genocide, all that. We had to go through all that nonsense. So where are we? What do you see over in Gaza today? Like, what's happening? I think a lot of people don't know.
I mean, first of all, just as far as the genocide claims, I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, I was in the IDF. People that are in the IDF, this was actually, and John Spencer, who's a specialist at the West Point, he is an expert in urban warfare. He teaches that. I mean, he's did a whole autopsy of the Gaza war. I think the civilian to combat ratio was about 3-1, meaning for every terrorist killed, about unfortunately 3 casualties were killed. America, I think, achieved the highest goal was like a ratio to 7-1. So, I mean, trust me, if Israel was trying to commit genocide, I mean, which they would never do, they can commit it in about, 3 or 4 minutes and it would be over with if that were their intentions. And also, I believe the overall population in Gaza grew and in the West Bank, so it's kind of weird to have population growth while having a genocide. So, I mean, people just fudge the facts and to further the ridiculous arguments, which if you want to say you hate Jews, fine, go ahead. That's just be honest about it. I mean, I'm all good with it.
I like that you address the data on it. It's, you can say whatever, you can throw words out that they mean nothing, but you get down to the facts and it's a whole different world. But Gaza, is there active fighting going on in Gaza? You still have to be searching for the people that committed October 7th, their leadership. Cutting the head off of the Hamas snake is critical. So that's still going on in Gaza. But overall, is Gaza is it getting back to any type of normality?
So, I mean, to the degree that Gaza can have a normality, I would say it's to a degree, yes. On your first point, I would just say very quick, it's actually interesting because Israel does have a very long memory. If you remember back to Entebbe, different operations, they actually have an operation called Operation Neely, where any single Gazan that crossed that border on October 7th, there was about 7,000 of them between Gaza and Israel that they are not going to forget, and they're going to hunt down every single one of them. So on a daily basis, once in a while, you do hear about, them taking out, people that were terrorists.
I think that's what Israel needs to do, has to do, and it's honorable that they hunt everyone who crossed that border that day, even if it takes them another 100 years. They need to do that. So I agree. So the bottom line on Gaza today, it's kind of it's back to probably where it wasn't probably that great before October 7th, and it's probably kind of operating, I guess.
I mean, it wasn't so, honestly, before October 7th, and I don't get so bogged down in it, it actually was not so bad. I mean, the living conditions are very good. About 10 to 15,000 of them actually have work permits, and generally all worked in the settlements that were attacked on October 7th. And unfortunately, they utilized that information. These civilians, these were the most left-wing Jewish communities in Israel at the time that they were concerned. They gave jobs to these Palestinians.
Right.
A majority of them gave, like Hamas, them exact information of the houses, locations, where to hit. So, I mean, overall, I mean, the situation is, things are being rebuilt. Trump does have this plan, this 20-point peace plan, and actually there is supposedly going to be a movement on that actually in the next day or two, but it's all contingent, again, on them being held hostage by this terrorist group called Hamas.
Right.
They would have to be willing to give up their arms and, live like regular human beings with, some society and, rule of law. So that's, it's really hard, though, because you're literally starting pretty much from scratch at this point.
And what do you think the odds are at happening if you're going to give a number?
I mean, I think it's going to have to be 100% just because it has to happen. I mean, it's just the reality. In the end of the day, there's over 2 million people. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
So I think it really would be the best. And trust me, Israel would love to have it be like another Dubai, like as their neighbor. They have no interest in, wanting, some nation living in rubble next to them. So, I mean, it's just on a logical basis. So I think just that these are the reality facts on the ground, that I don't see populations moving. Although, actually, interestingly, there is a poll that has been consistent polling that about 80 to 85% of the Gaza population, if given the opportunity and the money, like about $15,000, they would willingly, I stress the term willingly, would willingly migrate to a third country. But there is no third country willing to take them. The whole world that sits there all day bashing how they love the Gazans. There's not a single country, not a single person on the face of the planet that wants to take a single person in, which includes Egypt, which is, literally feet away. They refortified their border fence literally on October 8th, fearing that there would be a flood of Gazans coming in. So it's just funny when as I always say, the facts speak for themselves. And
you know what? That's a very interesting statistic. So 85% would pack up and leave, take 15,000 if another country would accept them. And all the people who've been belly aching about this problem has no interest in taking them in. It sounds like Americans who live in the suburbs and are Democrats won't let a migrant into their home either.
Yeah.
So
not in my backyard, Nimbo, they call it.
Yeah. So the hypocrisy is out there. Let's move to another problem. Hezbollah. So southern Lebanon sitting on right next to Israel. The IDF has before October 7 has whooped Hezbollah and decimated them in so many ways. My question, does Trump want Israel to kill off Hezbollah quickly, or does Trump want them to make a deal right now? Where is Trump on this?
So there's an actual interesting confluence that really hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves, and I really give the Trump administration and Marco Rubio specifically and the State Department that have been working on this behind the scenes. An actual peace plan where they brought the Lebanese government together. Actually, the president of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun, was in the White House for the first time, at least under the Trump administration, about a week ago, and they all agree on one thing, that Hezbollah is a terrorist organization that is occupying their land. Israel agrees on the same thing. The only reason the IDF is within Lebanon is to defend themselves against Hezbollah. If they were not there, if they were disarmed, there would be there'd actually be peace agreements, and there's actual talk about that for the first time. They're actually officially still in a state of war since 1948.
Right.
I mean, there's the fact that they agree on this, and there's actual plans now to move forward. The biggest problem is that the Lebanese army in and of itself is not strong enough. Some of it's been infiltrated by Hezbollah itself. So the Americans are working on a program to help, train the Lebanese army to be able to take on Hezbollah, or at least take over positions that Israel has already cleared out, which is a very significant majority already. So exactly how it's going to, take its form militarily is probably going to be Israel doing most of the legwork, and then hopefully a strengthened Lebanese army that can take over that position. Israel can pull back, and literally there actually could be peace between these two nations, which is the vision, and it's unbelievable.
Okay, that vision. So if people are listening, is the Lebanese government and their military want to get trained up enough, working with the United States, and then Israel coming into southern Lebanon, in the sense where the Lebanese government and Israel would be partners in getting rid of Hezbollah. That's kind of the ultimate goal. Okay.
And Trump was the first person to make this formula, so I'll give him credit for his unbelievable idea and to bring them together, and actually it's materializing. There's these pilot zones that already exist, so it's not even theoretical; it's actually happening.
All right, that's optimism. That's something to be
some optimism in the Middle East.
That's good stuff. Let's get to the next issue. We got the Straits of Hormuz now. My theory, it's not my theory, obviously, but my take, which I liked, is that the oil-producing countries and the regions are reworking their logistics to avoid the Straits of Hormuz. And once that happens, where that key importance of getting oil through there or shipping through there, and that's why I'm asking you. I kind of think it makes Iran a non-factor if we get to that. And some people say it could be in 6 months or 18 months. What are your thoughts on that? And I could be getting bad information.
No, you're exactly right. But there's another factor that's just happening the past couple of days that now needs to be dealt with. So the reason that oil prices have not shot up to $200 and actually are, I think, below $84 or $85 right now is because a lot of what you're saying is already happening, that Saudi Arabia has moved its production. It's called the East-West Pipeline that circumvents the Strait of Hormuz. And instead of shipping it that way, they've been shipping it now down to the Red Sea and about 75% of the capacity that they were shipping before. So it's actually already happening, this realignment of energy routes. But Iran and its tentacles and its proxies in the region, which always comes back to Iran, they are the octopus. So they have, unfortunately, the Houthis. The Houthis are a terrorist group that is literally a government now that it's taken over Yemen, the majority of it, and especially the coastal areas. So actually in the past couple of days, they've started to blockade this other area. It's called the Bab el-Mandeb. So it's where the Red Sea flows down if you're going south from the Red Sea into the Indian Ocean. So they actually started to blockade Saudi ships from there. Saudi Arabia, and then even yesterday, for the first time ever, a ship was hit in Egypt. I know this is getting complicated. This is how big that this situation has gotten. So now there's another option. You can go north from the Red Sea through the Suez Canal, then into the Mediterranean, which is a little bit more shipping. And but anyway, the Iranians using the Houthis, activating them. So it's an easier problem, though, I would say, overall to deal with. Right now, Saudi Arabia actually, as of today, gathered 43 nations to create a maritime kind of counteroffensive. 14 nations already signed on: Kuwait, Bahrain, actually Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, African nations. So and thank God it doesn't always have to be U.S.-led. I mean, so. Yeah.
Hey, Joshua, I want you, because this is very important what you're leading here. So Saudi Arabia, also an ally of the United States, also a big oil producer, all those other countries. People don't understand we can't get into it in this show, the Shia-Sunni thing. Americans start thinking like, why are we doing this all for Israel? Let Israel fix their own problem. Can you quickly sum up how this kind of problem in the Middle East is bigger than just Israel and America helping Israel? Because sum that up for the listeners.
It's called a global market, my friend. I mean, we're not living in the 1800s. I mean, everything is interconnected, one place of the world to the other. Yeah. So if oil is clogged up in a certain region, that will literally create recessions in America, Europe, other nations. So just on an economic level, you have a tremendous interest. I mean, literally on just to survive day to day. I know gas prices have gone up a little bit, but this is literally nothing compared to what if this is not dealt with properly, it can, potentially happen. And then just from a military perspective, I mean, you're dealing with a regime that's fanatical. That their first statement is, death to America, not death to Israel. They see America as the big state, and Israel is considered the little state. And I know that it's hard for a lot of Americans to understand, like, this idea of, such radical, theological elements that do exist, and they are fanatical. And unfortunately, I've had my run-ins with them. And it's a nation that's controlled by that. And Trump realized that also. And they were getting very close to nuclear weapon breakout points. I don't want to get into arguments how close they are. Should we have waited until they were 1% away and then, done action, taken action? And usually the smarter thing is to do it a little bit beforehand when it's a lot easier. And I know that, we're in it right now. So but I think we're going to come out, on a very bright side. So yes, it's all interconnected because we live in a global world, and that's just the nature of what we live in.
And I will bring
up the reality. It's bad.
And I'll bring up the reality too for America. This has a lot to do with China. It has a lot to do with Russia.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to put it in a box and just say, Israel, it's their problem, but it doesn't work that way. We have big enemies, and there's a chessboard, and it's not a simple checkerboard. And if you have to deal with stuff like this, it's not so easy to simply just put it in the box. What Trump is trying to accomplish over there, if he's successful, it's not rewarding just Israel. It's rewarding everything across the globe if he can do it. We might not. This could fail. Whatever could happen, we can't predict the future. But the plan that he's doing is a lot better than any plan that they've ever tried in the past that hasn't worked. So I'm glad we got that out. The last question before I let you go. Trump's going to pay politically probably in the midterms. Maybe. I don't know. The Democrats are so wacky. I'm not that negative. They are so crazy. They're shooting themselves in their foot. Before I let you go, because this Iran thing is an issue for Trump, but I think it's blown out of a little proportion. We have a lot what I call MAGA malcontents that want to kill Trump now, and they got loud voices on social media. They don't really have numbers. But if you could, what do you think with what's coming up with the midterms? And then I got to let you go.
Well, I think exactly the way that you put it into perspective. I mean, thank God the Democrats have gone so far to the socialist wing. I mean, it's that crazy. I mean, again, if you want to just go back to the numbers, so if you look at the generic ballot right now between the Democrats and the Republicans, it's actually at 3%, which is generally within the margin of error. Last time on Trump in 2018, when we lost about 40 seats, at this time I think it was at 8 or 9%. So it's a radically different picture. The fact that we are, I think, less than 90 days out or whatever it is, and it's pretty much, if you want to take a margin of error and pretty much a toss-up, 50-50 is with everything that's going on. I mean, it's actually a pretty impressive place to be at. So I'm actually I'm pretty optimistic in a way. I mean, literally with the combination of the Democrats doing the stupidest things on the face of the planet and Trump doing what's right. And I think ultimately a lot of that will come to light, hopefully before the midterms. I think we actually potentially can hold the House and obviously maintain the Senate.
All right. I got to go to break. Joshua Klein, Breitbart news reporter. Follow him. You can find him at Breitbart. Joshua, always good to have you. Thanks for that update on the Middle East. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
This is the sound of Claire, cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd to the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
Celebrate the legendary voice of the birds, Merrill Reese, at Merrill Live. An unforgettable evening of stories, memories, and behind-the-scenes moments with Merrill Reese and special appearances from some of your favorite players and more. Merrill Live at the Scottish Rite Auditorium, Tuesday, September 15th. Get your tickets now at 94WIP.com. Presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. And Impriano Roofing and Siding. The best homes have an Impriano roof.
If you drive a truck, Jeep, SUV, or any vehicle equipped with any and all-terrain type tires, this promotion is for you. Right now, during United Tire's Terrain Tough Tire event, buy any set of 4 all-terrain or mud-terrain tires and save $100 on your tires, plus $50 off a wheel alignment. That's $150 in total savings. United Tire carries the trusted brands you know, backed by honest service and expert technicians who keep you driving with confidence. Visit your neighborhood United Tire today. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Now, you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is the afternoon show with Tom Azelby, sitting in as your host till 6 o'clock. I know, and listen, I'm more MAGA than anybody, so, but I know there's a lot of people out there, MAGA's like, Tom doesn't know what he's talking about. We're just doing it for Israel. Listen, it's a complicated world. One thing about Trump is, first of all, he's an America First guy. And I know some of the people out there don't believe that anymore, but I don't care because I think he is, and that's why I've always supported him, and he's gone through the ringer. What's going on in the Middle East is very, very complicated. But what you should be happy for and supporting Trump is because he's not doing old warfare. Where you send a bunch of our troops in, and then you're all hoping that we're going to go on a Navy Air Force carrier, and the Ayatollah is going to come out and sign a peace agreement. Those days are long gone. One thing you should appreciate is Trump is trying to fix the world because the world could end up on top of us and screwing us. And the way he's doing it is he's fighting it like chronic disease, not where he's sending in a ton of soldiers and Marines like we did in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's doing it strategically. He treats it like a cancer. He'll hit Iran with chemo. This could go on for 3 years, and it might cost money or whatever, but as long as the oil's flowing and the economy's getting better, don't worry about it. Let him do the job. This is a new way of thinking. And don't just, you got Shia and Sunnis. He's trying to align the Sunnis and then maybe pull over. There's not that many Shia countries, but that division over there goes way beyond just the Jews, okay? So you kind of got to get off that mentality. And it's very complicated. But the good thing, this type of warfare that Trump is fighting is very strategic. It's very logical. He's got a plan. It ties in economics instead of that, we're the greatest country in the world. We'll blow you off the face of the earth. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen anymore. Those days are over. And we got to let this guy kind of execute his plan, just like you let a president of a company or to execute the plan and the strategy. And you might not like it, but don't just start acting like it's some simple black-gray matter where, we've been Donald Trump. Let's see how it works. First, he was a Russian agent. Then he was a Nazi, and now all of a sudden he's owned by the Jewish people of Israel. It's idiotic. I get it. We're not sending our kids to fight a fight for Israel. Matter of fact, they can fight as good as anyone. And let me tell you, they're probably better allies than Britain, France, especially Spain. All those countries, they're has-beens. They're weak. They're socialist. They'll crack down on your rights. We're going in the right direction, and we do need good, strong partners. Israel, India, we're looking for new friends. I know everyone wants to go back to this isolationism. Doesn't work. It's a complicated world, and Trump's got 16 months left, or he's halfway through his term, or he's more than halfway, right, guys? I'm doing bad math here.
Yeah, he's gone in 2028.
Yeah,
2029 technically.
We're halfway
January.
there. He's going to be a lame duck. He's going to get attacked from the Republican country club people, the corporate, the rhinos who you hate. He's getting attacked by these MAGA malcontents who want more Epstein files. Then he's got to deal with the Democrats and the socialists, which they're all the same, quite frankly, or almost all the same. One's just more honest about telling you that they're ready to be communists. But anyway, we're going to go to break. We're going to be right back. We'll be back with our guest. I believe we're going to bring him on right at the top of the hour, and then we're going to get into Fauci. We'll be back.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
It feels like every day there's something in the headlines that could make you wonder to yourself, is now even a good time to retire?
So many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping people get to, through, and beyond retirement for over 28 years, and each week he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti Saturdays and Sundays at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and 5 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless-like syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks, like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 267-223-7162 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 267-223-7162 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 267-223-7162 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinic treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 267-223-7162.
250 years have gone into building this great nation. Iron, brick, and stone forming its foundations. Wires carrying the lifeblood of electricity. And pipes delivering the water to our cities. Behold the strength and scale of American infrastructure. But it only takes a minute for some uninformed homeowner with a shovel to shut it all down. Electricity off. Running water non-existent. And that sewage ain't going nowhere now. Gee, thanks, Bill. Know what's below and contact PA1 Call before you dig. Visit PA1call.org.
WPHT, WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of non-stop talk. From Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Well, the clock strikes 3 and the workday's dragging. Traffic stacking up and the headlines are lagging. Then a familiar voice comes riding through the air. Tom Azelby in the chair. The afternoon show is here again. On the best station around, you know it's 1210. He's been around this town a time or two. Knows the stories and he knows the crew. Matt and Justin, that is. Join Tommy on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT here in Philadelphia. This is Tom Azelby. I have my guest coming up, Kush Desai. He's the Deputy Press Secretary in the Trump administration. And we're going to get to a little bit of economics. We're going to ask him a few questions. I'm sure he's a busy man. You work in the Trump press office. You got to be moving quick and working long hours. So, Kush Desai, welcome to the afternoon show in Philadelphia.
Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, Kush, it's good to have you. Let me tell you, it's funny. And you don't even have to comment on this, but I'm all fired up because there is an element of MAGA, the MAGA malcontents that seem to be questioning everything Trump does in the Middle East. But I'm not bringing. But I just let them have it, so you don't have to. But I do want to talk to you about the economics. The GDP that just came out. It looks like a little bit of good news, not great news. Why don't you sum it up for the audience?
Sure thing. So look, while the top line number of total GDP growth came in a bit below expectations, I think when you open up the hood of the car here, I think you see a lot of good news here that top line number really misleads. We saw expectation beating consumption growth, and we saw expectation smashing investment growth. And these are the two core drivers of our economy, of GDP or economic growth here. And the thing that actually dragged GDP growth down in the second quarter of 2026 was that net imports increased by a lot more than expected. And why did they increase by a lot? It's because shipments or orders of capital goods, meaning the machinery and equipment that we need to build and run factories and industrial facilities, skyrocketed way more than expectations. And that's exactly in line with what we've been seeing across the board with record investment numbers, with companies committing to investing trillions of dollars in American manufacturing. So we're actually looking at a lot of good news moving forward in the future as these factories continue coming online, as these investments continue to materialize here.
So the big news, what I'm taking from this is that, and believe me, I've been trying to tell people this, once you've had someone like Joe Biden in office, once you're or any company, once it's been wrecked and you got to come in and fix things, there's got to be some patience. It's going to take things take time to line up and start working again. It's like getting the factory floor back into production. And I think it's tough for the Trump administration because trying to set those expectations with a very disgruntled constituency is challenging. I'm sure you find it challenging as a press secretary.
That's exactly right. I mean, the thing is that we're not just focused on sort of the short-term gain that like the Biden administration was. And you're exactly right. They were so myopic that they would kind of juke these numbers by jacking up government spending and jacking up government hiring with a lot of these make work government jobs that the Trump administration has been getting rid of. And so, we could easily pad these numbers by juicing up government spending to get GDP growth up. We could create more government jobs just like the Biden administration did. But we're doing the exact opposite. In fact, government spending was a net lag on GDP growth in the second quarter of 2026. And the federal workforce remains at its smallest, at its lowest point since the 1960s. And so we're focusing on unleashing the private sector to do its thing, and we're getting the government out of the way. Naturally, that takes time. It takes time for innovators to come up with the next big product and for industrialists to build these manufacturing facilities. But, slow and steady is how we get real sustainable long-term economic growth and prosperity.
Yeah, so if you wanted to play Bush League baseball, you'd start spending a bunch of money to make everything in the GDP to pump that number up. Instead, you're making long-term plans to make it work. And I compare that to what we're trying to do in the Middle East, too. It's not about all just going to help Israel. There's big strategies here by the Trump administration. And what frustrates me is the impatience of the people that support Trump. That's what and you're kind of catching me all frustrated after thinking about this. But what's your view about that?
Look, here's the thing I'll give you the economic perspective here. I think a lot of people are frustrated, namely with higher gas prices. But remember a few weeks ago when we had initially signed that MOU with Iran, we saw the price of oil, the barrel of oil drop from well over $100 to around $65, $68 per barrel, which is what oil was before the start of Operation Epic Fury, which is at a historic low. And so, again, once President Trump forces this conflict to a successful conclusion, it's not a hypothetical. We know for a fact that oil prices will fall precipitously. They'll plummet like a rock, like President Trump likes to say. We'll see gas prices come down, and thus we'll see overall inflation come down. And so we're very confident that once this gets resolved, we're going to see real wages skyrocket, just like we were seeing before the start of this conflict. And we're going to see, again, the sort of economic growth that Americans were used to under the first Trump presidency.
And from an economic, when this is all resolved, it's also going to give us strength at negotiating tables across the globe, especially with China.
That's exactly right. I think the president's laying the groundwork for a long-term restoration of American prosperity at home, but also a long-term restoration of our national security, but both for us and our allies. And that means, we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And so that's what the president is focused on. He's not playing short-term, one quarter at a time. Let's juke up the numbers. He's thinking long-term here in terms of years.
Another question for you. We're in like a red state, blue state world. Blue states are, and I wonder how it, from the 50,000 feet, from the White House, from an economic standpoint, like you have these blue states with like New York City is a perfect example. They're threatening LeBron James that him and the 960,000 other people, they're going to pay 4% on properties that aren't their main houses. How does the White House look at it from an economic standpoint with big money fleeing blue cities and blue states? Is it a positive or a negative? I love it because I'm a big red state person. I'm giving up on New Jersey and I've found a home in Florida. But how do you see that? Maybe that's a bad thing. To me, I'm like, screw the blue cities, screw the blue states. Let it go to red states. How does the White House view that?
Look, I think we understand that this administration is looking at for all 50 states, and so we want every single American in every single community in every single state in the United States to prosper. And so we would like to see blue states embrace the policies that this administration, that red states are embracing across the country. When you look at what Florida, what Texas are doing, what these other red states are doing, where they're cutting government regulations, cutting taxes, and letting the private sector flourish, the end result is booming investment, booming job growth, and booming and people moving into these states. And so I think it's I'm from New Jersey as well, actually, about northern Jersey, I should say, and I would like to see my home state in New York City, really prosper in the way much of the rest of the country is.
Well, Kush, that's why I can't run for politics. for president because I am like so red state now. I'm like, let all the blue states go down the drain, but you can't do that because you guys are running a whole country. I get that. And where in North Jersey are you from?
I'm from a town called Nutley, New Jersey.
I know
45
Nutley.
minutes from Manhattan. Okay, great. Yeah.
I know Nutley. I'm from Bergen County. And you went to Dartmouth too, which is also a beautiful place. I used to visit my nephew playing lacrosse up there the last couple of years. So, listen, it was great having you. I'm glad you're getting on. But once again, these GDP numbers. The midterms are the midterms, but once we get this machine running, this factory floor running, we're going to start getting great GDP numbers before Donald Trump leaves office. That's my prediction. I believe that 100%. What say you before I let you go?
I think we're going to see booming in GDP growth. We're going to see continue to see more booming job growth, booming real wage growth, and booming prosperity for every American in our country.
Kush Desai, Deputy Press Secretary in the Trump administration. Great having you. Great for that economic update. We got to go to break. We'll be right back.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. I've been talking about myself for all these years. Now it's time for you to hear from one of our great clients.
Investor Schooling lives up to the promises. Larry's a great teacher, teaches about the whole new approach to thinking about money. I've taken to heart many of the things that he's taught me, and my financial life has improved.
Come to Investor Schooling, and you could be just like Charlie and change your financial life. Go to investorschooling.com. We will see you Thursday.
Hit the road this season to watch the Birds. Book your road trip with Fans of Philly. Trips are available now for Nashville, Arizona, Chicago, and London. Travel in style with transportation, a pregame party, and game tickets to enjoy the Birds on the road this season with Fans of Philly. The official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network. Book now at fansofphilly.com. That's fans with a PH of Philly.com.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks, like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 267-223-7162 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 267-223-7162 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 267-223-7162 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 267-223-7162.
Hey, this is Brian Veazey, the new PNC Bank Regional President. PNC Grow Up Great has supported 10 million kids and counting by helping them discover a love for learning through high-quality early education opportunities. Being curious is in a kid's DNA, and supporting them is in PNC's. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
When someone's AC is on the fritz or drains are just not draining at all, like at all, Horizon Services never asks, how soon do you need it fixed? You know why? Because no one in recorded history has ever said, oh, take your time, just whenever you can get to it. We just assume how fast can you get here will always be the answer. So Horizon will be there same day, and we won't leave until you're 100% satisfied. See? Sometimes it's good to assume. It gets your AC fixed fast. Book today at horizonservices.com.
A plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
The events of September 11th changed our nation forever. As we approach the 25th anniversary, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT is looking to hear directly from those who experienced that day firsthand. Were you a first responder who answered the call on September 11th? Were you in New York City, Washington, or near Shanksville? Share your story as part of our special 25th anniversary broadcast, 9/11 Through the Eyes of, a collection of personal memories, reflections, and experiences from those whose lives were forever changed. If you have a first-hand account and would like to be considered for an interview, visit 1210WPHT.com/911story. Let's remember, honor, and preserve them for future generations. Go to 1210WPHT.com/911story.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT here in Philadelphia. This is Tom Azelby on the afternoon show. I'll be back Saturday morning, 8 to 9, wrapping up the week. So let's, and I know there's some people, and I get it. I mean, probably everyone is heard a lot about Fauci in the last few days. And listen, I hate talking about COVID. That is one of the most depressing errors in this country. But I don't think we're going to be fair to ourselves or our listeners unless we throw Fauci under the bus. And I'm going to ask for help throwing him under the bus, which is easy to do. You could have thrown him under the bus even before that testimony. So Matt and Justin, I'm sure they'll have plenty to say. I know they have a lot of clips. So maybe we'll bring a little bit of a different, perspectives on the Fauci hearing yesterday. But I do want to open up with this. The point about pardons. Prosecutors and courts use pardons to get people to tell us what they know. It's kind of like, hey, we're going to give you a shorter sentence. It's used as like a negotiation. Like, if you don't want 20 years, we'll throw the machine gun that you were carrying out, and we'll only get you for all the weed in the trunk. So instead of doing 20 years, you'll do 5 years, you'll get out in 2.5 years. Or if I would think if someone's pardon, it's an exchange. You get criminal protection. So it's an exchange to get information if you're giving someone a pardon. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so that was sort of like the internal debate that unfolded during yesterday's hearing. You had James Langford, for example, who said that Fauci did have a Fifth Amendment right not to answer any committee member questions.
Right.
Then you had Rand Paul and Josh Hawley, who said, no, he was pardoned. That right is basically forfeited. And then Rand Paul went even a step further. He made the case that Fauci actually waived his Fifth Amendment right or Fifth Amendment privilege because he testified at the start of the hearing with his opening statement, which kind of complicates things further.
Yeah, that complicates things. But I also think if Fauci already has a pardon, right now, I know there's going to be people that are going to try to salvage his reputation. But if he really cared, and I'm going to attack him, this is like a personal thing about him, regardless of what he does or what people do. What happened with this COVID, regardless if he was just being a narcissistic, self-important lunatic, but right, it was such a catastrophe what happened. It's all coming out now. Wouldn't it, like, what if he just thought a different way? Like, maybe I could salvage my reputation, admit a little bit, like I was a bit of a I got a little bit carried away with all of this, and now I kind of want to tell you what happened because you can't do anything to me. So maybe I do my penance, and I know this is Pollyanna, but there are some people in the world that are like that. I mean, people who go through doing terrible things come out in the end and say, listen, now that I have nothing to lose, I'll tell you the truth and what happened. And maybe we'd find out it wasn't all him. Maybe he wasn't. Who knows if someone wasn't holding a gun to his head or threatening him. I don't know.
It was a very unique example of crisis management, and it would be nice if we could go back after the fact and figure out what we did right and what we did wrong.
Right.
So, heaven forbid something like this ever happens again. We're in a better position to, I guess, sort of react. I don't know if you want to hear this. This is cut number 3, Justin. Just to sort of show the audience how bad things got and how Fauci legitimately refused to answer anything. This is Josh Hawley asking him just questions like, what color is your tie? And he refuses to give anything. Cut 3.
Let's hear it.
What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
And you know, and you might have heard it already, but I'll give you another observation. That's a man that, like, he's been castrated. Like, even if you are pleading the Fifth, what you could have said, I have a green tie on. What an unserious question. Like, he just looks like it looks so bad. It's kind of like he might be that beaten down now. I mean, he must listen. He knows what they know if it's true or not true, but I don't know the downside by saying to any senator, when they ask the question like that, there's no risk to giving them a straight answer and kind of insulting them back. Like, I'm wearing a green tie. Like, why wouldn't he do that?
There was one instance. I actually just sent it to Justin. I don't know if you can cue it up, but I believe it was the Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno who started grilling Fauci. You could tell Fauci was getting annoyed, and he asked Fauci, do you even understand what the Fifth Amendment is? Like, what is the Fifth Amendment? Who wrote the Fifth Amendment? And for a moment, it does look like Fauci's going to say something, and his lawyer actually grabs his shoulder and tells him to stop. And he looks embarrassed in the video. We'll play it in a second. His face turns bright red. His lawyer, it seemed like he wanted no part of Fauci answering anything. Here it is.
Okay.
Mr. Fauci, do you know who David Schertler is?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
Lawyer grabs him by the shoulder.
Yeah. On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I
would have got caught on that too, because I don't know who wrote the.
I think it's Madison.
I don't know who wrote it. I think the guy, like, listen, you don't have to. Your lawyers aren't perfect either. I'm sure that's what they told them to do on everything. But you got to maintain your own character and manhood and say, I got a green tie on. No, I don't know who wrote the Fifth Amendment. I'm taking it because you guys want to lock me up, so that's why I'm taking it. It was just. Something's off about this guy, and I'm going to tell you where I thought something was off about him. I'm going to get to that in a minute. There's now saying that state AGs could possibly go after him because the pardon is for federal protection. But what I'm hearing is for a state to do it, it's a big cost, it's a big risk. And there's so many federal officials have so many built-in protections, but there is an attorney general in Florida, the free state of Florida, who seems to be gearing up. So maybe you will see something. My summary of this is that he is going through the process of this, and if the process is really a punishment, he's 85 years old, and just being questioned like this, people now questioning, like I have people who were very supportive of him are now angry with him. Finally, they're finally angry with him after they saw him take the fifth. But if anyone has high hopes that the states are going to be able to do anything, they'll drag this on for years. So I don't know if there's any big legal punishment coming for him. You guys got any thoughts on that?
Florida wasn't the only one that brought it. Tommy Tuberville, who is running for governor of Alabama. He said that if he wins, he was going to see if he could bring state-level charges against Fauci. We actually have a clip. He was on Newsmax. This is cut number 10.
Everything. Hopefully, in the next 6 months, I'll be the governor of the state of Alabama. And I promise you one thing, we will find out if there's a possibility that we can bring him to Alabama to put him in front of a court and a jury to see if we can put this guy in prison. He killed millions of people, folks. I mean, this was a catastrophe. And
I think it's going to be more the punishment of process than real criminal prosecution. And I think he definitely earned going through that process and getting punished. But I don't know, it could die out. But the big thing is he loved that reputation that he was the greatest scientist in the world, and that's taken a beating, even though the left is trying to prop it up. Here's one thing he said, which I was shocked. Herd immunity was a proven scientific concept from 130 years ago. And Fauci, Mr. Follow the Science, said herd immunity is total nonsense and a dangerous strategy. I heard he said that to people during the whole the whole COVID catastrophe. I don't want to even hear about herd immunity, and it's something that's been around for 130 years. And here's where people got screwed on this. Okay, I had a family member, a D1 lacrosse player. We were talking about him earlier in one of the Ivy League schools. He got COVID pretty seriously. He was sick as a dog for 3 or 4 days. Within 30 days, when he wants to go get on the field, not because he was sick for 30 days, but now practice is starting, the school says to him, you got to get a COVID shot. And he's like, well, I just had it really bad. I was sick for 4 or 5 days. They're like, no, you can't play. His father's a CEO in biotech, understands, herd immunity better than Fauci. He's like, that's ridiculous. You were sick. You were sick. You're protected. And guess what happened? You want to play, you got to take the shot. That can't be healthy to your immune system. Now, nothing went wrong. And I'm sure the right is not completely, because there is a percentage of all vaccines when they come out that they do some type of damage. That's just the way it was, and this was a new rush vaccine. So I'm not disputing that people weren't hurt by this vaccine, but he wasn't. But boom, he had to go. That really frustrated his dad. Like that he had to give him the shot or he couldn't play. And I capitulated too with my kids. I did not want my children to get it. But if you wanted them to play sports, if they wanted to travel, get on an airplane, you had to give them the shot. But the fact that, I don't know, like herd immunity, everyone knows about herd immunity. But anyway, Fauci, the scientist, said, no, that wasn't going to cut it. Herd immunity was no good. Are you guys familiar with the Santa Clara study?
No.
Okay, this is interesting. It was done in April of 2020. So a month after it starts, they go into the city of Santa Clara in California, and they take blood samples. And they do 3,300 people. There was a real high rate of infection, right? And Fauci's number at this time, he said, if you caught COVID, you had a 3 to 4% death rate. That was the number they put out. Santa Clara study showed by studying the 3,300 blood, most people didn't even know they had been sick with COVID. It was 0.1 or 0.2, 20 times lower than Fauci's model and claims. So think about that. And it came from Stanford, this study. So if Fauci had an open mind, now, and I don't know what he was thinking, and I'm not going to even try to figure it out. But this was done by Stanford, by epidemiologists, and they're like, they were all saying, this is BS. We have a study here. Now, that doesn't mean they couldn't have still had protocols and stuff. But no, they shut it down. They killed it. They wouldn't let anyone talk about it. But if you go into the research of COVID, that was the one study that should have never been shut down, and those people were kind of persecuted for putting it out. And that's a big deal. 20 times lower than what the Fauci model was. From one big study in Santa Clara, 30 days after like the big lockdowns in March. I like when I read about that and heard about, Wall Street Journal did a big report on that Santa Clara, and I recommend anybody look it up. It's the Santa Clara thing if you want to, dig into the numbers, and we're giving them to you right now. Now I'll move on to my another subject. Narcissism. And in July 2020, it's opening day. The baseball season, Major League Baseball, has been delayed. Fauci goes to the Nationals game against the Yankees. There's no one in the stadium. So think of April to May, June, July, 4 months. We are in the heat of the lockdown. People have lost family members. They couldn't go see them. You can't go to funerals. You can't do anything unless you go to Florida. That opening day, Fauci goes out and throws a terrible pitch with a mask on with nobody in the stadium. And I said to myself, not that I had anything against him at this point, like I do today or I did soon after that. I said to myself, what's that little like nerdy doctor out there? Like, why is he kind of out there like throwing the ball like he's some kind of hero while we're all locked down? I had a weird feeling about him then. That's the first time where I kind of, said, wait, this is, because I was buying into it like a lot of people were. And some people weren't. I had friends from the beginning, like, I ain't buying this at all. But when I saw him do that, and so people are losing businesses, their jobs, their grandfather dies alone. And what a nitwit move by him. Like, you talk about pure narcissism to go out there and throw that baseball. Like, look at me. I'm able to go to the game. You're not. And watch me make this terrible throw. It reminds me sometimes when a terrible event occurs and the police come out, the state police, the county police, the person, the security, political person, the mayor, they start patting each other all on the back. Meanwhile, the guy is still on the run. He's killing. I want to thank that guy, and I want to thank that. I'm like, guys, save it till you catch the guy or put him down. Don't start patting everyone's on the back about how great your response is while people are still trapped under the building. There's a little bit too much of that in our society now, and I think that's kind of similar. Maybe it's a stretch here of Fauci going out to throw the baseball there.
He also noted in the diaries that at one point he achieved what he called the Fauci Five, which was appearing on all 5 major Sunday morning shows.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Okay, I have a question. First of all, the diary? I read some of the things. Who, shouldn't the diary be like the science? Like he's the greatest scientist in the world. Wouldn't it be like, this is what I'm seeing today? This is what I'm seeing. He's talking about all these social engagements and the celebrities. He's having private calls with celebrities. I saw the one where he did it with the pretty woman lady, whatever.
Julia Roberts, yeah.
Julia. But how did they get their hands on this diary?
So that's interesting. I was curious as well, because you hear diary and you think, oh, it's like a little journal that he jotted in and stuck under his mattress. But he actually ended up having a copy of this diary on the health department servers, and RFK Jr.'s staff stumbled upon it and gave it to Rand Paul.
That oh my God, let me tell you, that Robert F. Kennedy, man, he's always like, thank God we got him on our team. He's a little crazy, but he's good crazy. I am so glad we got him. Forget about throwing the bear in his car and throwing it in Central Park. That guy, and my wife watches his exercise routine. She says, oh my God, he's crazy. It's like, it's wild. But I am so glad you shared that with me. I've been thinking the last 2 days, where the hell this diary? How'd they get their hands on it? It's not like Biden's daughter where he was showering with her. That got out of the Florida Rehabilitation Center. This was on the server of DHS, and Robert F. Kennedy's people got it. That is so wonderful. You just made my weekend, and it's not even Saturday. It's not Friday. Thank you. All right, let's keep moving along with Dr. Fauci. Trump's best decision in all of this COVID stuff was he did not federalize the lockdowns. He definitively decided that the states would make their own decisions about lockdowns. And this is an interesting statistic. Red states opened 2 to 3 months post-lockdown, okay? Blue states opened 18 to 24 months. If he had to federalize those lockdowns with all that nonsense that was coming out of the federal government, would have been you know what? We could be speaking Chinese today, because that would have been worse than the Depression. If they had to federally lock down every state under federal rules instead of letting each governor decide what they want to do, like Georgia and Florida and all the other ones that didn't abide by these rules, we could have been taken over by China. Maybe not by war, by economics. It could have been a really big problem, and we ran up to the line on totally devastating our economy if it wasn't for those red state governors. Any comments on that, guys?
So there's a famous clip of Fauci, I think it may have been from 2022. It was after things calmed down, where he claimed that he never argued in favor of lockdowns. But in the diary, he brags about influencing California Governor Gavin Newsom and then New York Mayor Bill de Blasio to shut down schools and lock down like large parts of their economy. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. No, and I think he loved the lockdowns. I think the lockdowns made him, listen, because of the lockdowns, he got to run out and throw the pitch. I know it's hard to believe that this guy is as demented as I now think he is. And the diary, thanks to Robert F. Kennedy, I really think this guy has some serious issues, like emotional issues. It might be a stretch, but I think there is something with this guy. I mean, if I would fly in psychiatrists from around the world, the best in the world, to sit down with this little man and have a deep, long discussion, strap him to a couch and start talking.
He's not a particularly gifted speller either. I don't know if you've looked at any of these like text messages that he's exchanged with media members, for example, but there's just littered with typos.
Yeah, well, you know what? My kids actually think I'm illiterate. So, like, they're like, did you get Dad's text? Yeah. Like, did that guy go to school? Like, what's wrong with him?
There's one text in particular. This is actually not Fauci, it's Tapper. But apparently, this is from 2020. Fauci had an interview with Laura Ingraham on Fox News. Interview was not great from his perspective. She roughed him up a bit. Jake Tapper texts him and says, hard to believe Laura Ingraham went to Dartmouth, isn't it? All of us alumni are very proud. There are so many typos, which I think is ironic that Tapper's like flexing that he went to Dartmouth.
Oh,
Meanwhile, he can't spell believe correctly. He doesn't type Laura. He's misspelled her name even. Like, the thing's just a mess.
Wow. Like, yeah, just think of all those sycophants in the media, like, loving on this guy. Matter of fact, someone in the chat, Tuna Fan, got 2 Fauci tattoos, and now he regrets it.
Thank goodness he didn't get the third.
I know. He's hiding it.
Yeah, there's another portion of the diary. It's from May 14th, 2020, where Fauci says that Jake Tapper and Chris Cuomo were basically running interference for him in a feud that he was having with Donald Trump at the time.
Yeah, Jake Tapper is, and you know, I've had some guests who are on the right and they try to defend him. He's a Philly guy. He grew up in Queens Village. You know, before he ever got in, and people should know this, before he ever got into broadcasting, he was a public relations guy. And all he did was defend Democrats. All his contracts and the consulting was to defend the Democrats and their candidates and their agenda. And the guy, and now that he's a news guy, he's just taken his old career and now he's got a big microphone in front of him. Here, let's get into my next topic is Fauci worship. Do I need to take a break before we continue with all this? I'm enjoying this breakdown.
Let's maybe squeeze one in.
All right, let's squeeze in a break, and we'll be right back with more Fauci, and we'll try to keep it interesting.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
New rules, New Jersey. If you have an e-bike, riders must be at least 15, hold a valid driver's license, or an e-bike special license.
There is a designated bike lane inside of my development, and I see these kids in the neighborhood that have these little e-scooters, and I call them the Bluebell Bike Bandits, because they're a pain in the ass. They don't adhere to any of the rules. They're 12 years old. I don't expect them to know the rules. Like, where the hell are their parents at?
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active. And it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor Portrayal.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
You don't need another
your opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Summer heat, storms, and heavy rain can put your roof to the test. Don't settle for anything less than expert care. PJ Fitzpatrick brings more than 45 years of experience, and they've earned thousands of 5-star reviews, delivering American-made, CertainTeed premium shingles. Most roofs install in just one day, and all come with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. Flexible financing makes it easy to protect your home this summer. Visit trustpj.com today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You can now tune in to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to 1210 WPHT. This is Tom Azelby on the afternoon show. We'll be wrapping up soon, but we got a couple of more digs to get in on Dr. Fauci. There was a lot of Fauci worship back in 2020 with the shutdowns, and believe me, I knew people who worship Fauci, and a lot of them were suburban women. It's just my observation. I had some friends that were defending him, but there were a lot of women that kind of had this, I don't know, it was daddy weird to me. And I don't know, maybe because they looked at the old guy as like that maternal nurturing, but mostly if I looked at the politics and I've thought back of the people that were loving Fauci and telling Tom Azelby, you don't know what you're talking about. Like if I was talking with them through a mask. But the Dem women, they actually did a poll, showed that the Democratic women were all on board with Dr. Fauci, that they were into what he was saying, big supporters of him. And the men who were married to Democratic women, I don't know what they thought about Fauci, but they sure didn't say anything. They fell into line because they're usually skinnier than their hefty Dem wives. So they were probably doing it for their own self-preservation and their, listen, domestic abuse that goes on. Anyway, getting a little, but I actually think this Fauci worship or the Fauci thing, it's not over now. My understanding is the Eagles are now kind of following Fauci. Now they're going down a whole different road with Fauci. Can we play that clip?
Yeah, just for context, this is defensive coordinator Vic Fangio at the press conference. The Eagles just started training camp on Tuesday, so this is defensive coordinator Vic Fangio opening his press conference.
Let's bring him on. Let's hear what he has to say and why he's following Dr. Fauci.
Vic, what's the plan at safety? Is that Marcus's job to lose?
I'm going to be like Fauci and just take the Fifth Amendment on questions.
See?
Did you guys see that? Yeah. Oh, my God. What was the question?
All right. See, the guy, listen, this Fauci, he's resilient. He's resilient. Now everyone's going to be pleading the fifth over some of the most ridiculous things.
I think Justin told me that he saw Keith Olbermann is now attacking Vic Fangio for making that joke.
No way. Oh, my God.
He called him a cretinous MAGA slob for one joke.
Yeah. Oh, oh, God. What's his name? Keith Olbermann or whatever. Wow. Man, he's really sick with Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah.
Something is wrong with Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
Beyond just Trump derangement syndrome. He really I think he's off.
Well, didn't he have that weird relationship drama last year or something where he was dating someone who was 30-something years younger than him? And
well, let's not throw him under the bus for that.
Keith Olbermann is a freak.
Oh, he is. You know who he did date a little bit? And I feel sorry for her because but I don't think they had a long relationship. It was Laura Ingraham. They had a very short relationship. But I think she started throwing him, allegedly. I don't know. This is coming out of my memory here. But I think Laura Ingraham was also no, that wasn't Laura Ingraham. She is the one that had a short relationship with him. They might have went on 2 dates. It's not a big deal. But who was the very thin blonde? She was a bomb thrower, and then she turned on Trump.
He's
the other woman. Who's that skinny blonde? She's not as big.
Olivia Newsy?
No. She was big. She wrote books, hardcore conservative.
Oh, Ann Coulter? He hooked up with Ann Coulter?
No.
Okay, I was going to say.
Ann Coulter used to go after him because maybe Ann Coulter went to Cornell. I think Laura Ingraham went to Cornell. But anyway, the Ann Coulter said he didn't go to the real Cornell, and this should insult you as an Ivy Leaguer. There was an agricultural school at Cornell. So Ann Coulter was always saying, he says he went to Cornell, he's a Cornell graduate. She's like, no, he isn't. He went to the agricultural school.
That's funny.
So applying to the agricultural school is probably different than the liberal arts school, correct?
I would think. It's probably got a higher admission rate.
Olbermann used to lose his mind over that. And he posted his degree where it says, it's Cornell.
If he's posting it, he's bothered by it for sure.
Oh, my God. He was so bothered by it. You want to talk about getting someone's Achilles heel. No one would have looked into the agricultural school versus the liberal arts. But once he lost his mind, I looked into it.
That's funny.
I wanted to know. Here's another thing I want.
Can I just throw out his list of girlfriends?
Yes.
So Laura Ingraham, you're correct. Olivia Newsy, who I believe was briefly linked to RFK Jr.
Okay. Well, he's linked to a lot.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Katie Turr from, I think she's on MS Now.
Yeah.
And then Kristen Sinema, who I'm pretty sure is into ladies now.
Yeah. Well, she was always into both.
Oh, was she?
Yeah. That's.
I think she has a girlfriend now, though.
No, I thought she hooked up with a man.
Oh.
Now.
All right, well, we'll have to get to the bottom of this.
No, she was flexible with that. I actually thought she was attractive. There's something about her I liked
she's not
about
bad
her.
looking.
Hey, listen, to each his own.
She was a decent senator, too, from Arizona.
Yeah, she held the line. So I'm a supporter of hers. My next thing is the COVID war profiteers. That's what I call them. And so what people don't realize that there are businesses did well. And they gave a lot of energy to the lockdown people. And this is Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, Costco, Big Pharma, Pfizer, Moderna. Sales boomed for these guys during no one could go out. They were ordering everything online. Home Depot, people were doing renovations at their home, and they were allowed to stay open while the little guys got put out of business. It was if these guys were on the opposite end and the little businesses were staying open and they were closed down, those lockdowns might have not happened. But when you got big brands like that backing you, that's what I mean. There were COVID profiteers. This worked out for them. Here's some other winners in the COVID profiteers. DoorDash, Uber Eats. People, the computer guys making computers, everyone had to go home. Every company had to send computers all over the country. Internet companies, Verizon, Comcast, Charters. Quite frankly, I was in the internet business with these guys. For some weird reason, 2020 was like a boom for internet access. And so these people, these organizations or these big businesses, they actually did well with these lockdowns. And when you have big money, that's kind of like, you know what? We're not going to put out our PR teams and our lobbyists and our donors. You know what? These lockdowns are pretty good for business. Let them rip. And people should be aware of that because that absolutely happened during those lockdowns. There were big interests and big money if you were on the lockdown side. And then you think about it, the small business guys, they didn't have a lot of juice. And they're the ones that took the beating. The Wuhan lab, I got to go through this quick. Why Fauci was ever giving money for gain of function to Chinese communists, a lab controlled by China. That makes no sense. I don't even understand it. Any final comments on that lunacy?
Well, he claims, and is still publicly claims, that it originated from the animal population and spread at
the wet
market. But in the diary on February 1st, 2020, he had a meeting with a dozen prominent virologists in which only 2 credited this natural origin theory. The rest thought it had been created artificially in a lab.
Matt, my understanding is he didn't believe it came from the wet market.
No, I was actually just about to say, in the diary entry, another diary entry, he actually said that he believed it spread in the market, but that was just an amplifier. That's not where it originated. He thought that there was some credibility to the lab leak theory.
And the reason he didn't want anyone to know it didn't come out of the he wanted no one to believe it came out of the lab is because EcoHealth got $600,000 that gave the communist military Chinese that run that lab the money. That was him protecting his own ass.
Yeah, and the pardon that he received from Biden dates back to 2014, which Ashley Moody, your senator from Florida, says is the same year there was funding for dangerous gain-of-function research on, I think they called it bat viruses in the Wuhan lab.
I'll finish with this. His narcissism might protect him from what he's going through because he's guiltless, and that's what narcissists are. They are guiltless. They will avoid self-reflection, constant justification for his misdeeds. He'll probably do it till the day he dies. With that, we got to go. It was great show. Thank you, guys. I'll see you Saturday, 8 to 9 on the Tom Azelby Show this Saturday. See you then.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free.